Afrofish OG. What is going on, everyone? It is Taylor back again on the Afro and the Scorp podcast. Just so you guys heads up, Scorpio will be here eventually, maybe, hopefully. We are not 100% sure on that. But today we have a guest, which I am super excited, all the way from the Who What Now Gaming podcast. Bro, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself on this one.
Hey, thank you. Dude, first off, that intro, that was amazing. Wow, dude, nice work on that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Of
I'm
course.
super excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go by Phoenix Stewart. I'm Josh. I'm a Twitch streamer. I got a podcast all about gaming, Who What Now Gaming. Yeah, I mean, I'm just super excited to be here.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm not gonna lie, that the intro actually took a little bit. It's actually has another music track on there,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was getting sick of the copyright part, which is it's so dumb. I'm not gonna lie, copyright is so stupid.
Dude, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Like I've been struggling to find the music because sometimes it says like copyright free, but it might not be. Or like
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that say like, hey, you can use our website because it's going to be free, and don't worry about it. Like everything's like copy, free use kind of thing. But like just because it's copy free doesn't mean it's free use, and just because it's free use doesn't mean it's copy free. So it is a struggle.
No, absolutely, and that's actually something that I was always worried about. So I actually had a friend of mine. I was like, "Yo, I will give you $50 if you make me like a quick intro,"
Oh,
and he was like,
100%.
"Okay," and I was like, "All right, cool." So it actually worked out. It worked out really quite well too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's sick, dude. I love it.
Yeah, I'm very happy. But no, but for today, I mean, shit, man, it's been a little bit since I was actually able to feel like I'm actually doing another podcast and stuff. But it's been kind of a while. I know like there's a bunch of people. Hopefully we get a bunch of people through here. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be. Um, but shit, we're just gonna keep on. We're gonna keep on trucking. But I wanted to get more since obviously, if this is your first time on here, a little bit more about you, games, like what games you play, what games you like. Like I want to hear from you. That's the big thing.
Sweet. Hell yeah. Well, where do you want me to start? I mean, I'm so
How
much a
about
gamer.
let's start with let's start from your beginnings.
So when I first got into gaming, my dad for Christmas got me a Nintendo 64. And so that was like my first like actual console. But the first time I started like gaming was probably like the original like Nintendo, like Super Mario and Duck Hunt and all that stuff. And so like I would just play those constantly as much as I absolutely possibly could. And eventually when I got like Nintendo 64, I got into Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's still like
Ooh,
my
love it.
absolute favorite game. It's just there's so much nostalgia with it, and the amount of times that I've played it, it's unbeatable to me. And I think when it comes to like being such an amazing game, like
Mm.
it may not hold up to today's standards, but like being like one of the first introductions to open world games, and I feel like that's something we kind of like overlook a lot. Like with today's games, everything's like either got like it's either an open world or it's like a battle royale or it's a this, that, and the other thing.
Mm.
But like back when we were growing up, like that wasn't an option. A lot
No,
of them were platform type of games. So to get a game where you could really just go and do whatever you wanted to do was a huge like improvement.
absolutely.
So yeah, just playing those. Played a lot of like the obscure games like Paperboy. That was yeah, dude.
Yo, they need to remake Paperboy.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I
Paperboy was so good.
Oh man, it was. It really was. I don't know why they haven't. Like I honestly, like I want a mod on Cyberpunk where I can just throw paper.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I don't even know if they use paper in Cyberpunk, but I need a mod where I can just throw paper.
Dude, Cyberpunk is so good. I wish they wouldn't have taken so long to put out the DLC because I think I would have played it more.
Mhm.
But
I haven't played it.
the initial release of Cyberpunk was like it was such a sought after game, and it came out so buggy and broken. Uh,
I
but
remember.
I gotta say, those who like really stuck around and were like, "Hey, we got some faith in this game. We're gonna let it, develop and do its thing." It,
Mhm.
it it paid for itself. It really did come through, and I think it's like it gets a bad rap, but it's a good game. It's genuinely a good game. I'll stand by that.
No, that's fair. I think I agree. It's been like I said, I'm really hit or miss with it because like open worlds are one that I love. Like I love open worlds. I'll sit there and I'll focus on it. Then all of a sudden my ADHD kicks in and I veer off somewhere else. Come back to them. But Cyberpunk is one that it's to me it goes another example of games that if you just let the developers do their thing,
Yeah.
they can make gold.
Mhm.
Stop trying. I mean, I know that it was rushed to all hell. I mean, I believe they were getting death threats and stuff too. Like it was
Damn. I
insane.
I didn't know that, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
be surprised.
it was really bad. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, if you send in death threats out, bro, like go touch some fucking grass. Actually, no, don't. Actually, just go put yourself in a cell.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause, like I don't want you outside.
Yeah, I think sometimes like gamer communities kind of get a little too full of themselves in a way. Like it's like a game's a game, it's a program. It's something that's just kind of put there for the entertainment. And some people kind of go a little above and beyond and kind of lose their minds solely because of a video game. And like, hey, I get it. When you pay the money and it doesn't, it doesn't produce the what was advertised. I
Mhm,
get it, but you know sending threats to like companies and stuff, the it doesn't do as much damage as maybe like a community that just goes, hey, we're not going to buy these games anymore,
mhm,
because they're not some companies have gotten so large, they're not here to specifically adhere to your entertainment. A lot of them, like, and I complain about it all the time on my show, Call of Duty. I have a joy for community for Call of Duty, but when it really comes down to it, at the very end of the day, Call of Duty's just there for your money. It's that they've gotten so large, they have to be able to make a certain amount of money to be able to pay the people that are creating the game. And
right.
when you do that, you're creating this like toxic environment where they're not actually creating for the entertainment anymore. Now they're creating so that they will get enough people to buy a game to be able to bring in that revenue. And
No,
that's where that
absolutely.
sticky line is.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think like so, and I feels like it also trickles down into single player games as well, because I know like for example, Spider-Man 2 apparently was supposed to be like almost like 50% larger than what it was. They cut out a bunch of stuff. So what I heard from leaks and when I was doing a couple videos and I saw and stuff is that one what was it? It was Miles was supposed to have the Venom suit.
Oh, really?
Craven was supposed to also have the Venom suit at some point. Which I thought I was like, yo, you told me that I was gonna be able to fight Craven Venom,
Yeah,
and
that'd
you
been
took
nuts.
that away from me for Harry?
Yeah.
Like, and it was very interesting as I was like, there was a couple videos on it. Then when I heard that, I was like, okay, well, shit, I'm gonna still have to go fact check it to make sure, but that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
These games are getting so ungodly large too, is that their development times are basically the equivalent of like full fledged movies.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
and they're also now taking full fledged movie numbers. Like it's insane. Like it's like 100. I think it was over $100 million just to create Spider-Man. Between the marketing and all the other kind of stuff, and it always kind of blew my mind that like you get so many of these smaller developed games. Like I'm going to use the game I just played recently was Still Wakes the Deep. Still Wakes the Deep is actually really good for the most part. It's like almost like a Lovecraftian horror game where you're a person, this dude who's on an oil rig.
Okay.
And then they end up drilling into something and things just start happening, right? I'm not gonna get into spoilers for no spoilers or nothing, but the game is good. The game is really good. It's like story wise, it's really well. It was made by like 4 people.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Remember Scorpio, welcome. I'm happy you're here.
No, it's good. It's good.
Hey,
So
Scorpio, how you doing?
Good. How are you, man? How are you?
Hey, good.
one of the other games that I played that I know Scorpio knew I was obsessed with for a while was Bright Memory. Bright
Yeah.
Memory Infinite for a long time. That was made by one guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here in the back of my head, I'm like, how are you guys dropping money after money after money on these games? I really don't understand it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, let's even look at Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 was kind of flew under the radar. It was a big game for a very small niche group of gamers. And the developers decided, hey, we're going to make a second one. We're going to kind of update the entire system. We're going to, reconfigure the graphics. We're going to make it just a new game itself. And this game was only developed by, like, I don't know, I think the last time I saw it was like maybe 10 people or 10 to like 20 people or something like this. Real small, like a group of individuals. And when they created it, they did not have the like thought that this was going to blow up. So they only had a small set of servers available because they didn't expect a bunch of people to enjoy this game. And it was an absolute banger. And the big deal with this game is that everybody started immediately jumping on about microtransactions. And I'm like, well, hold on. Look at the microtransactions. The absolute most that you could possibly spend in that game, I think, was like $10. That is the absolute most. But then you get like, Diablo, where you can get a horse for like what, $400 or something like that. And it's like, bro, what are we doing?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That was so stupid. Adding the battle pass in Diablo was it was a joke. It's like Diablo jumped on the wrong bandwagon on that one. It didn't need it. It made it smart from 1 and up.
And I also understand, like I've heard well, if you don't like it, don't play it. You don't like it, don't buy it kind of thing. I don't think that's always a problem. I think it's how much it's shoved into your face. Like when I go and I play,
Yes.
like I play Madden a lot because it's the only licensed football sim game they have. That's literally around. And so whenever you start it up, boom, make sure to buy these cards. Boom, make sure to buy these cards. I'm in my franchise mode, go into it, hit loading screen, something for the ultimate team. Like it's always there. There's something always there. I thought of like when I heard the advertisement, whether I don't remember exactly when that was. I think we talked about it, Scorp, when they were talking about bringing in advertisements in game.
Yeah.
And so there was always a joke where you're in the middle of an Elden Ring fight, and then all of a sudden a commercial for Red Lobster shows up.
Yeah, it's like you're fighting a finger boss, but get your grubby hands on this lobster.
Yeah, right. Like if you think Market is great, wait for our double chicken sandwich.
I'll tell you what though, because I heard of this, and I think if this is a decision that they decide to follow through with, I think there's only one way that you can properly put advertisements into games that will not absolutely break the gamer experience. And I think there's only one way you can do it. And only some mobile games will even do this. But you have to give the option for the advertisement. And if you watch said advertisement, you get a reward for in-game stuff. So let's say you're playing Elden Ring and you're getting your ass absolutely handed to you by like some boss, and you head over to the menu and it says, hey, you want to watch this ad? We'll give you 2K souls. And you're like, done. I will watch a 30-second, ad to get 2K souls if that's going to help me level up my gaming experience while playing Elden Ring. If you do it any other way, if you shove it in my face, you put it on every screen that I'm playing, if every time I open the menu, it's right there, if it is being shoved down my throat, it will not work. You will lose gamers. You will drop this completely and like altogether.
Right.
I'm not saying this is a good way to do it. I'm saying if this is a decision that they decide to follow through with, there's only one way that it can be done properly.
And I think I think that's actually a really, really good point, because like right for the way they do it right now, for a lot of games, it's so incredibly annoying.
It's horrible.
It's always right up in your face. Like make sure, buy V-Bucks or the VC coins from 2K, you get these here. Oh, you made it, you play one game. Oh, we got the coins and stuff like that. And I'm like, honestly, this feels like? It feels like if you were on like like some sort of like unsecured site and you're just seeing pop-ups.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. That's what gaming can feel like at times. And it's weird because, we talked before how games, didn't have any of this. Beforehand it was the games where it's so much more simplistic.
Yeah.
And as much as I don't hate microtransactions, they just make it they don't make it fun, and it just has a bad connotation. I think the big thing for me is taking out full chunks of games. You know what I mean? Like I always said, Borderlands always did this kind of well, where all the stuff doesn't feel like it's part of the base game. It feels like it's an addition.
Yeah.
Because you're usually in like an entirely different area.
Yes.
And I'm fine with that. But when it's like, I know Destiny had that problem where they would take out big chunks of the base game and then be like, hey, there's some DLC.
Yeah, Destiny 2. I got a buddy who was trying to get me to get like back into Destiny 2 because this is now like it's done. After this last DLC, like this is it. Destiny 2 is done. And it's been going on for like, I don't know, like 8-10 years, something like this, right?
Yeah, they had that 10-year thing.
Yeah. And so I was looking back at this and I just go on the PlayStation store, right? I bought Destiny 2 when it first came out. I spent the $60 to get the game. Now that base game is free and you can't play it. It's not like if I were to put my Destiny 2 disc into my PlayStation, it won't play because it's irrelevant anymore. It doesn't have anything to do with what the game has developed itself into.
Wow.
But if you want to play the stuff that's going on right now or play all of the content that's gone over the last couple of years, if you go into the PlayStation Store and you go to the like list of all DLCs, your grand total is $408. I'm not doing that. I'm not spending $408 to catch up on a game. That's not a thing that's going to happen. Like what? That's not even like
that's insane.
Not a chance. Like we're not doing this.
I did not know it was that much.
It's stupid. And it's each DLC as it's gone over like the past couple of years. And I get it. Like you're like, hey, well, that's 10 years of content, kind of.
So
it's only like 8 DLCs. But that's saying like, you're putting out a DLC a year, maybe. Like, come on.
That's crazy. I had no clue. Yeah, I haven't played Destiny in a long time. I played the original Destiny, and then I stopped once you hit level 30, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then you just had to grind and grind and grind, and I got bored of it. I got sick of it, so I just stopped doing it.
I kind of lose interest in games when there is, kind of going back to like the microtransactions, when you have a platform or a game or, whatever that is asking for you to buy, upgrades or buy new characters or buy, this, that, and the other thing. I have the issue when to buy it is something that I cannot achieve myself during the game itself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if the only way to get this gun or the only way to get this skin or the only way to get this character is to buy it, I'm out. That's fair. I'm out.
I know like Overwatch had that problem big time where it was like, oh, we got the summer games and the Chinese Zodiac one and the Halloween one. And I mean, I got to a point where like I just didn't care what I got anymore. I would actually just play during the anniversary times because then you can just you have a chance to unlock all of them.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. See, like I'm okay when Fortnite kind of does it. Like I don't play a whole lot of Fortnite. It's kind of more just like a time passer kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many characters. But they're all like battle pass characters, or like as you play the game, you get in-game currency, and then when those characters become available, you can use the in-game currency that you have earned yourself by playing the game to purchase them.
Right.
The catch is that if you don't get them in time, you can't get them again
until they
like a trophy
round.
Right, well, yeah, right, until they pull them out of the vault and it becomes like an event or something, and you're like, hey, that is fine to me. But if you make like a game where you're like, hey, like you can only get, like Call of Duty was doing it for a little while, where like you could get this like absolutely broken, untested gun if you just buy it right now. And then it becomes this absolute meta. And you're like, hey man, like some of us don't get a chance to sit here and play all day, every day. Like some of us just get home from work and we just want to blow off some steam. And I'm just getting absolutely wrecked by a fire breathing like shotgun with this guy who's glowing and also see through. And you're like, what are we doing here?
There,
Like,
that reminds me of.
We're not even Call of Duty anymore.
Reminds me of the old akimbo shotguns.
Yeah.
Like the if you guys remember, I loved Call of Duty Black Ops 2 the most. That was probably
it
by
was
far.
good.
And it was the Peacekeeper. It was like, it shoots like an assault rifle, but it handles like a submachine gun.
Yep.
And it was just broken. Like, I absolutely get that. Like, it's, it comes to a point where the microtransaction you start to wonder if it's even worth it. And like for me, it's like, unless at the time, I used Call of Duty back then, where you got map packs, right?
Yeah.
At that time, I actually didn't mind that because you got 4 maps plus a zombie map, and then I remember it was World at War. They ended up giving, after like I don't know, so many months, you could just play them for free. And I actually didn't mind that. Like after a while, sure, why not? If you're only going to get so much out of it, play it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they had those nice free play weekends or something where it was like, hey, even if you didn't have the content, we are now just releasing it to the public. Do your thing.
Or give like fun game modes. Like Halo 3 did that, where I remember my favorite was Griffball on the weekend on the weekends. That was one of the games where either it was the most fun or the most frustrating thing possible. There was no in between.
I liked Call of Duty eventually kind of picked it up, but every so often it was kind of like a mode that would stay and then leave for a little while. But I don't remember what the mode was called, but basically you would it would be like one hunter and then everyone else were just objects, and then you'd have to like hide around the map.
Oh, prop hunt.
Yeah, prop hunt. And that wasn't something that I had to get too competitive with. That was just something where, the buddies and I were, we get down and we just play this game for a little while and we just have fun with it. Just mess around. That was great.
I never heard of that before.
Oh, really? It's ridiculous, but it's super fun.
Well, it was a big thing going around in all games. It was not just Call of Duty. It was an actual game itself.
It was a sandbox game, right?
Yeah, it was a sandbox game, and then Call of Duty also said, "Hey, let's do it for COD fans," and they have to jump on the bandwagon. And yeah,
it sounds like the Dead by Daylight, like before Dead by Daylight.
Again, they're all sandbox games. They're all very similar.
I have to check that out.
We are kind of getting to a point in gaming where I feel like there's a fine line that we're about to cross, where every game, whether it be unique in its own fashion, is starting to kind of blend with what makes other games unique. So like for instance, like Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty was originally like, this was your war game. You are putting yourself in the front seat of a soldier and you're going through battle. Now we're getting, it became, from story based and started morphing more into multiplayer until this last game, when the multiplayer is everything and the campaign was like an hour and a half long. And so you're like, okay, well now we're definitely transitioning from like a campaign from a first person shooter. And then you've got like skeleton skins, you've got you got Snoop Dogg, Cheech and Chong, Nicki Minaj. Now we're throwing celebrities and stuff. Exactly, and that's what I'm kind of getting at, because now we're starting to kind of blend, where Fortnite was already this like character based battle royale. Now we have character based Call of Duty, and it's not Call of Duty anymore.
No, well, Call of Duty went from being a pioneer to a follower. I actually think it started not just with it was the Overwatch where it really did, because Overwatch really also brought in the whole, like, you have all these crazy characters, right? And then each one does something. So then after that, Apex kind of jumped on that, but just with Battle Royale. So Call of Duty was like, well, let's do them both.
Right.
So they ended up following. The problem that Call of Duty, I think, had, is that none of their stuff was really was really interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Even when I look at the stuff now, yeah, they brought stuff from the boys and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, that's not enough to get me to want to go and play. I'm not a big Fortnite fan. I'm really not. I don't play Fortnite very much. The only time I play is when Scorpio plays every once in a great while. It's not really my type of shooter. I would rather play something like the finals. But I think that overall the trends of just following and it doesn't just pertain to shooters as well. Going off into when we talked about like open world games all start feeling they feel kind of similar.
Yeah.
This kind of felt um what game was it? It was like the Ubisoft ones with Far Cry. Far Cry's kind of felt the same in a way. And I'm not the only one who said that. I know of other people who've heard to say that too. So when I think was really interesting was when Elden Ring came out and Elden Ring doesn't hold your hand, people started freaking out, And even in uh what game is it? It's the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
That was another system that also just seemed to not want to hold your hand, and
Yep.
people just took issue with it because I think what happened is I'm like some of you guys need to go back and replay BioShock because I think that all went over your heads.
Yeah.
like they literally basically say y'all are just pawns anyways, and it's true. Y'all just go and do it. You have to have the arrow tell you exactly where to go. You have to have, someone hold your hand the entire way. I don't know about you. I grew up in the era of if there's bad guys, you're going the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, but I think that's the one issue they have with games that have become open world is like it's like linear exploration.
Yeah.
Like there's exploration, but they really just want you to follow this path. You can go and do everything, but the exploration isn't much. I mean, I'm going to use Skyrim as an example. Skyrim's always been an example where I said Skyrim to me is not as fascinating as when I look back at it now. And not even just because it's dated graphics, just because the game itself is just like I said before, it's watered down. It's the most bare bones stuff. So it doesn't have much depth to it. But it's just something that I wish I like games that don't hold your hand.
Yeah, of
I
course.
love games that you have to figure it out. And that's something that I kind of wish that more games would turn to, but it doesn't seem that it's going in that direction.
Yeah, I will say probably one of the games that I think does the like linear progression, but this does it in a pretty good way to the point where you don't really feel like it's linear progression. God of War. God of War has always been kind of like a game where like, yeah, it feels open world, but technically there's only a couple areas that you can really explore. But besides that, I mean, it does a really, really good job of pointing you in the correct direction without like, actually holding your hand and saying, this is where you got to go. But it does it in a way that you don't really mind that everything is only moving in one direction. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, I get that, and even games that are more linear, Still Wakes the Deep. I'm going to use is extremely linear, but that's not a problem because that's not the purpose of the game.
Because it's not advertised as a
No,
an
it's
open
a heavily story first game. Even like you said with God of War, God of War is a heavily story first game. Yes, they have little options. Doom's another one too. It's a little more linear game, and I've always maybe because I've paid attention to some of these like game journalists who are like, oh, what we really want is we want to be able to explore and see the world and blah blah blah. And sometimes that's just not the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, or if you are gonna give me explore, let me explore. Don't tell me what's there. Let me find out. That's one of the things I think is funny with like Elden Ring as I play it is like I'm running through stuff and all of a sudden I get to an area and I just see a yellow mist and I'm like, well, I explored this castle and this is it.
Yeah, when you said that, I immediately thought of No Man's Sky because that was a game that they used. You ever played No Man's Sky?
I haven't.
All right, so No Man's Sky is basically just this incredibly open universe game. You play as just an individual. You collect resources. You can find stations out in space. You can sell your stuff. You can use those things to craft, resources to make bases. Use those bases as like little research centers. You can kind of like, you harvest like oxygen out of the air and minerals through like the different planets. But the joy of that game is that it truly is open universe. You can pick a direction in the universe and fly. Eventually, you will find another planet. The thing that didn't hit with me was that when you landed on a planet, doesn't matter where you land on that planet, the entire planet's exactly the same. So it doesn't matter, like you get that nice transition from like landing on a planet to taking off, going directly into the atmosphere and seeing the transition into space. And then
That's cool.
then you can choose a different direction. You can go into light speed in any direction and you'll find another place. It is vastly open, and they used like some kind of like AI creator process whatever to create infinite planets and stuff. So it truly is open. But when each planet only has like 2 resources or 3 resources, and you land on a planet and there's no threat, there's no there's no stakes, there's nothing to worry about. So you're just landing on a planet, playing Minecraft for a little bit, and then you dip out and go find another place to check out. So like it is a fantastic game, but it had so much more potential to be better, and it just didn't.
Like a grinding simulator. God, that gives me Mass Effect 2 like probing the planet vibes.
Yeah, and it really wasn't like it was cool to like, get out of your ship, run around, check out some of the wildlife and everything, but the wildlife wouldn't attack you. Honestly, it could care less that you were even there. You could like use like these like digging tools to like go down into the earth. You could just keep going as far as you wanted to go. It was truly infinite, but there was nothing to strive for. And that at one point I found that if you harvest certain materials and combine them together, they cost like so much more. Then I would just do that a bunch of times, sell it, and then anytime a new ship would land and I liked it, I would just buy it. But like after like a couple weeks of playing this game, like I was bored of it because there was nothing else to do. There was no point. I was just existing. I would just break the financial economy with what I'm with my resources and stuff, and then I'm walking around with like 16 ships and nothing to do. So I'm like, all right, well the game's done for me. Put it down. I'm done.
Mm-hmm. No, and that sounds really boring.
Well, to go along with all this, I'm thinking like, see, right now I'm also a huge Resident Evil fan, and you're probably gonna say this like after hearing about being very linear to now going to open world, they're in transition right now about Resident Evil 9 that I've been hearing from Capcom and everything, and all these articles saying about how Resident Evil 9 is supposed to be open world, while going based on what we've already had from the RE2 remake to RE4 and everything in between. You could see, yeah, like how it kind of babies you through as you go. Like, what's great is that it still had it was linear at certain RE titles, but then afterwards you start to see it open up when it gets to Village. You're like, Village is still open linear. No, I wouldn't say it's more open world, but it's still linear. But it kind of forces you in that direction, like you said, like the God of War aspect, where it allows you to explore the whole village. It allows you to go back to the castle and everything, but it pushes you in the right direction. That it only gives you 2 directions: back and forward. You keep moving forward. You could go left, right, diagonal, every which way. You move back. That's all you could do. Back, right, diagonal, every which way.
Right.
So it still gives you that linear open motive. And then just like when you were playing in the RPD in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, where you're playing in the hospital, very linear, the fact that like, okay, you're running around one set area, but it gives you more maneuverability as it forces you to progress forward, and you could only go back. Like the transition that I'm getting at is like RE9 now, what they're trying to figure out is how exactly will they make it open world, because now these are where the games are starting to go open world. Is it going to hold your hand or is it going to let you go? Like we said, Elden Ring with Shadow of the Erd Tree, fantastic. Like fantastic DLC from what I've seen. Everybody who's played an Elden Ring, you know what, praise yourself being an Elden Lord, even if you're just starting it out. Like it's like being lost in a circular room. You could be lost, but the problem is that you got to look around you, up, down, left, right. You will find your way out eventually. So they make it that hard in the sense, yeah, they won't baby you. But at the same time, a lot of people are also complaining that if they're not given that aid, then they're going to be lost forever because they're starting to become lazy in the sense like, oh, if it's not in front of my face, if it's not shown to me, I give up. Like I've known somebody who had an issue with Resident Evil 2 because they ran out of ammo. And I'm like, how do you run out of ammo on the normal setting? Whereas I've beaten the game on every single setting and I've never had the issue of running out of ammo. Well, their factor was they've only started with Resident Evil 4, which means shoot everything, you're going to get rewarded for it. Whereas Resident Evil 2 is no, you slow down, shoot the kneecaps, run right past everything because it's not about being rewarded just to shoot everything. Your reward is your survivability and your instincts to keep moving on. So again, it's not there to baby you. It's subtle hints. So yeah, so the question is like, where will they see Resident Evil in Resident Evil 9 in an open world aspect? Are they still gonna follow we're gonna hold your hand up to a certain point, like guide you in a linear fashion, or will they pull a From Software and go, okay, you know what, we're gonna let you have the reins, but if you suffer, that's on you.
For a game like Resident Evil, I think that if it suffers, you're on you is the best way to do it. At the end of the day, it's a horror-based game. If you get like, let's say you're getting chased by a lichen and you're getting caught and you get yourself caught in a corner, that's all on you. You know what I mean? I think the one thing is that, with a transition from these open world, because like obviously Breath of the Wild did that. For a lot of people, believe it or not, Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess is probably the most linear of all of them. But like,
so good though.
It is really good. It's really, really good. But even though it feels like, oh, there's like an open world, there's really not that much to do.
No, not that one.
But when I look at like open world and how open world works, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I love some of it. There's certain games. Horizon is really good. But not every game needs to be just an open world, go everywhere, do anything. You can do anything possible. Because guess what? Sometimes that actually just derails the game's sense of suspense and all that. Like I could see for Resident Evil, one of the things I could see is that maybe it's linear, but then at certain aspects of the game they branch out where you can have a chance where like I have to collect 3 pieces of this mask, so I have to go to different areas. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I can choose which areas that I go into. I could see them doing that.
Yeah, I think if they were to go into the direction of an actual like open world, I think the problem solving aspect would have to be more apparent. You would have to kind of branch away from like games where, say, like in Skyrim, if you were to go to like solve a puzzle, you knew that the answer of that puzzle would be in that, small knit little area. And I think with like a Resident Evil game, like going into the game, not knowing like where you're supposed to go or how to solve the problem, you just know that you need to get from like point A to point Z. It's just how you're going to get there is entirely up to you. I think could be a strong, way to do the game. But I think as Resident Evil developers, one of their key strong points that they need to like definitely, grasp onto is they need to listen to the community. And I would say that about all games, games with a very strong community base. Like these are the people who are playing your games. These are the people who are buying your games. Don't listen to a CEO who has never played the game that they are in charge of. Listen to the people playing your game. Listen to the people who are buying your game,
That
because
also
they're the
includes
ones
the
that
new
want to play the
journalists.
fun game. They're the ones that want to play the game and they want to have the experience. You know, you're making the game for the consumer, which is like something I stand for so much on, like, you know, on my show. We are consumers by consumers for consumers. You know, it's you're not creating something for, like, stop making stuff for the dollar signs. That's where there's your big issue. Stop making things for the dollar signs. Make things for the communities. Make things for the consumers, because the consumers are the ones who are giving you the dollars. If you want to make the money, make the content worth the money. That's my take on it.
Like, this is what sorry, but
No,
this
you
is
can
this
go.
is like where I was wish sorry. This is where I wish that there'd be more developers. Like, I see this on PC all the time, where it's like the new game that came out, Once Human, and even people playing DayZ still to this day, where they have the developers of said games, they're in the actual product that they're giving out. Why can't we have that? More devs or some representative of the devs actually be more involved in the products that they're putting out there, so they can listen to us. Like, I wouldn't mind having a Resident Evil game like where it's like, okay, I understand it's hard because it's more of a solo aspect until they introduce the multiplayer. But even then, you come across the developer, like, in some sense, like maybe he replaces the merchant, or he comes in, or like there's a way to communicate with, let's say, Capcom, and you can put in your questionnaire and say, this is what I love about it. Can you add this or this? Sure, those games will be hard, but Call of Duty, have somebody from Treyarch or Activision in there, say what's wrong with the games, like, see what you like, what's going on. Epic Games, Fortnite, Apex, same thing. Like, get involved more, so you see why people are bitching and complaining. Again, back in the day, we always used to hear EA Sports, it's in the game. Yeah, well, it's in the game, but then again, going on to your microtransactions, now you're like, EA Sports, it's for the dollars. Why don't you just say that and come out and say it's not for you guys anymore? It's not for the consumers. It's for us to make money. Like stop hiding behind your false advertisement.
Yeah, but I mean, that all boils down to, like, corporation nonsense these days, and that I think is, you know, I think you're on it. Like, it's the root of a lot of the, like, the big issues. Like, we keep going back to, or, you know, I probably keep doing it, but going back to Elden Ring, Elden Ring's DLC here, and I don't think those who have are like Elden Ring, like, or like Souls game, like, fans and stuff, like, see it, but the community does. The DLC was not meant for everyone. The DLC was specifically meant for the diehard, like, Elden Ring fans. And the reason I say this is because, I don't know if any of you know, the only way to actually even play the DLC is not buying the DLC. You have to, but it is not how you get to play the DLC. You actually have to have beaten Morgoth, one of the side bosses in the game. And if you have not beaten him, even if you buy the DLC, you still can't play the DLC. And the funny thing is that I did end up watching this video where they were talking about the release of the DLC, and they were talking about, like, the stats and stuff. They're out of all the numbers from Steam that they were able to gather from everyone who has played Elden Ring, only 32% of those players have beaten Morgoth. So out of all the players who have played this game, 32% of those players can go right into the DLC, which means if you wanted to play the DLC, then you have to now find a way to get to Morgoth and then beat him just to trigger the DLC you've already paid for, which just wraps up. They did not make this for everyone. They made it specifically for the diehard fans to enjoy. And that I'm okay with.
Well, and I think
see Afro in it. He could be one of the 32%.
Yeah, if only.
I will say, weirdly enough, I have not played the DLC, but I have beaten Morgoth and I have become an Elden Lord, and, like, it's just been so long, and I don't want to get back into it because it's just been so long I don't remember the controls. But I still give Elden Ring one of the top like marks. I think it's a fantastic game, and I played the shit out of it when it came out.
I'm the only non-Elden Lord here. I've never played a Souls-like game until we had our podcast about like our guilty pleasures of not getting a chance to play any Souls-like or Souls-like games.
Really?
Yeah, I've actually for my first time a couple months ago did Bloodborne for my first, and then
You started with Bloodborne?
I started with Bloodborne.
Whoa,
Bloodborne,
rough sauce.
I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it, and like I enjoyed the shit out of it. I never thought I would actually make it to a new game plus.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, this is not my style. And then all of a sudden my chat's like, do Lies of P next. I'm like, okay. So I just finished up Lies of P. And I'm like, I still don't know if I'm gonna touch Elden Ring. But like maybe somewhere down the line, but I feel like my sanity for like Souls-like games, I could just turn around and say, hey, I'm part of that community now. I've dipped my feet into it.
Yep.
I think there's a lot
Souls-
you can do with Souls-like though too. Like there's a lot more. Like it's the thing that's funny about Souls-like games is the fact that it's really, to me, the reason why people like it is because it's engaging.
That is
You
a
know,
story.
well, the story's good too, but like the combat itself is what really gets people engaged. You're constantly in that moment. You know what I mean? There's no, oh, I'll just, press start and slam a bunch of potions beforehand. Like, there's a good chance that if you don't recognize what you're doing, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just like any other kind of game, almost any kind of media, whether it's movies, whether it's reading, even if you are not actually paying attention to what's being done, you're not going to understand it.
No, of course.
And that's the one thing that I have a lot of fun with. Like right now, I'm fighting this dude who's basically one of the ball bell hunters. It's just the actual version of him. I think he's a side boss, and he has one ability where he swings and then he swings and then he stabs with his sword. And he did it. He did it like 3 times, like 6 times total between the swing and the stab. And like it's crazy. He's difficult because I think I'm under leveled for the part that I'm in.
Which
But
game you playing?
Elden Ring.
Oh, okay.
Like, but it's still a fun time. I still have a lot of fun going through it. I feel like with games like Elden Ring, people are so, they look at it and they're like, oh well, it should be easier to have everyone play it. And it's one of those games where I think the developers have mentioned this game is not for everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
Games are not for everyone. And guess what? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like it's totally okay to not have a game be for everyone. The people who usually want that don't play them. It's like it's the same thing when I read a comic book or if I watch a movie, and it's like, well, why is this? This is for a certain group of people, But when you have video games and it's like, well, the excuse is like, well, I don't want a challenge. Then play something else.
Right.
Like it's literally no different than playing a sport. You wouldn't ask the people who are playing basketball to not play as well because you're trash. At playing basketball. So why would you expect a game company
to go easy on you?
It's so crazy that like those kind of games expect you to elevate. They expect you to learn, they expect you to go through. And the fact that y'all are upset because you need to learn says more about you as a person than it does actually about the game itself. Now I can see if the game was bad because it's just buggy, it's hard, it's buggy, it's what I mean. Ninja Gaiden's a prime example of that. I love Ninja Gaiden. However, I'm gonna be honest when I say that those games are not very fun anymore because they just are not well done. They didn't age well.
Right.
That's a different story. But when the gameplay is smooth, everything's working just fine, and you're just mad because Margit has a 5 swing attack and you just keep rolling into him, that's nobody's fault but your own. One of the biggest things for me learning was the fact that I didn't realize I don't have to double tap like for playing Xbox. I don't have to double tap the B button to roll, but for some reason I just keep feeling I have to, so I do, and then I end up dying. Or I'm sure Josh, I'm sure you've probably had this too, is the instinctual roll.
Yeah, we call it panic rolls.
Yeah, so like you see that jump, Margit jumps in the air and he just sits there for an extra half second, and if you roll, and as you're in the mid animation, you're just like, fuck.
And then that blade just
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I feel like it's so crazy because like, you know, what it leads into difficult. You know, I think people, you know, I'm going to change subjects here a little bit because I feel like something that people really should be mad at, and we don't have them. We all had them when we were younger, but they don't really have them much anymore.
Yeah.
Cheat codes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do want to touch on what you were just saying. But yeah, like I know you want to segue into the cheat code things.
Oh,
I
you good?
remember
You
the
good?
cheat codes. But no, but you are right. It's not about the game devs and whatever, because FromSoft also said they made this DLC. This is their last DLC. This is what we want to give them. This is it. This is what our pride and joy that we're gonna end off on, and then move on to something else. It's hard. Suck it up. It's not made for everybody. Whatever. They know they're not gonna make it any easier. Just because you are shitting your pants at how hard it is means to get good. It's true. Like you said, it's not made for everybody, and everybody feels the fact that the game should be getting less. No, ever since we had that podcast, like I said, I've always wanted, like, Bloodborne has always captured my attention. For some reason, Elden Ring never really gotten to me. It's getting to me more now because of all the hype around it and because of what I've been seeing about it. It's starting to, who knows, it's starting to pique my interest. But after going from Bloodborne to Lies of P, I feel like that's a first stepping stone. That's a good step to get into the Souls-like series. Will I touch Dark Souls? Absolutely not. I have no interest in them. Elden Ring maybe somewhere down the line, but I'm fine and adamant with these two. But the thing is that even when I played Bloodborne, what it spoke to me is the fact that, like, hey, okay, the first boss I run into, I'm dying. I don't care. I'm dying.
Mhm.
I don't know what to expect. So I get my head sliced. Okay. As soon as the words come across the screen, you're dead or you died. It's like, okay, what did I do wrong? First step, I didn't roll. Okay. So now here comes the panic rolls. You roll too much, you're dead. Okay. 10 swipes later, okay, bosses start to swipe. Third death, fourth death, fifth death, 1,000 deaths later. It's the first boss. But what is that saying in my mind? I'm learning each time I die what to expect. That's what the game is supposed to be teaching me. To these
Right.
people that say that, oh, I don't want to play it, is because they have the intimidation factor of they, to them, think a death is a failure. They're thinking themselves that the more they die, the more they are equivalent as to being a failure. Yeah, we all seen Kai Cenat go 100 hours in a stream and take 70 hours over the final DLC boss. 70 hours on one boss.
Yeah.
People like people have given up and then gone back years later, and then they finally beat the boss. But at the end of beating that boss, you get the joy of fulfilling and getting that entitlement to say, I did something that I never knew I thought I would do, and get the satisfaction of saying, I defeated something that was very challenging to me. Hence why I feel the Souls-like games are that treasure based of a game, that gem that the developers are trying to say is that is what is making you an improvement, is to be improving more yourself than to have them lower the difficulty just because you want to play some video game and have fun, and basically it baby spooning you, and not to feel like a failure that dying over a million times is not a good thing. In life, you're supposed to fall, you're supposed to get injured, you're supposed to fail in order to progress, not always succeed 1,000 times and then learn absolutely nothing in the end and just be like, oh, you know what, I got a 50 KD on COD, I'm the best player. It's like, but really, I guarantee you the person who has that 0.05 of a KD is having 10 times more fun than you are, having fun getting challenged by people like you over and over, and talking with their friends and learning from people to outbeat you in 100 multiple ways than you being robotic and doing step by steps. That's what
Yeah.
I feel it is.
I kind of want to piggyback off of that, and I think this will, because I liked what you said there. It was a challenge, and like a learning experience, and I think that we've gotten to a point where games are a lot more different than like, all right, so let's go back like the beginning, right? Where it's a Saturday night, you're a kid, you got a pocket full of quarters, right? We're going to the arcade. You sit down, you find Mortal Kombat, and you start rocking through Mortal Kombat, and then you just get absolutely wrecked. First thing you do is you grab that quarter, you go back in there and you try again. You go over and over and over. And those games were originally created to be ungodly difficult because it would prolong the like life of that game, but it would also create a situation where that game is going to it's going to create a fan base. It's going to create people who are going to dedicate their time and effort into being better at this game, and to the point where you get to an end where you're like, oh, I could never get to like stage 8 or something, and they're like, oh, I've beaten the game, and you're like, what are you talking about? And then we get the, oh, I got the high score on the top of the the board, the leaderboard here and stuff. And so then we started eventually creating games that now that we have owned the games and we're not paying to win these games, you now own the game's difficulties have dropped. And so now they are more achievable. And now we've beaten the games. And then Elden Ring or Souls like games come along and they're like, no. Like, you buy the game, it's all yours. But we're not going to make it easy because we want to fulfill that challenge so that only a small group of people, like only 32% of people who have even beat a specific boss in a game that all players own the rights to get to. And it's that challenge factor that we love. And I think that's where like a lot of like the open world games, I think it's why we love open world games. It's because it's that challenge factor of not knowing what we're supposed to get into, not knowing exactly where we're supposed to be, but we're figuring it out. Mm-hmm. But that being said, we're also in a generation where if you get to a point where you've kind of like lost interest in losing a million times, like I remember as a kid playing like the Pokemon games or playing like Kid Icarus, and then you just played it and then you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I'm not winning. And then eventually you find a buddy who's beaten that. You're like, what did you do? And they tell you, oh, okay, now I have that information. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to try it again and try it again. Now I could buy a game today, play it. The first challenge I get to, I don't know how to beat it. I just Google it.
Yeah.
And bam, I have the answer. And that kind of, it's almost like modern day cheat codes.
It pretty much is. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. It's like, go look up a guide. Like last night when not yesterday, sorry, the day before, when I did Liza P, I'm on the final boss. And my main thing is that, like I said, I have the mentality, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to die 1,000 times before I figure out how to beat this boss. I go in there and I whoop the boss's ass first shot. I'm like, it's not done. There's no way it's that easy. It's not done. There has to be a second to it. And lo and behold, there is. I'm like, okay. And I'm watching the bar dwindle. It gets to about a quarter. And I'm like, there's no shot that I'm going to beat this in one shot. There's no way. And he pulls up, bang, I'm dead in one hit. I'm like, there it is. And then we go again and again. So something I'm thinking is already easy. It's already, I'm going at 100%. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to do it in one shot. I'm like, I'm all excited. And you just basically, there's my hopes and dreams. You just broke, done. And it's like almost 2 hours later, then I finally beat the boss. And then just that gratification of knowing that not only did I just beat a god, I also beat the game. And even just the emotions that come out after, you're like, oh my God, you're almost in tears. Even if it's Liza P, it's like, holy crap, I did it.
Yeah. No, I did an experiment for myself just to see how I would do versus like playing a game by myself or playing a game while people could interact and watch exactly what I'm doing. And so I decided I was going to start streaming Lords of the Fallen, which is notoriously a very difficult game. It's a Souls-like. It's not exactly in the Souls realm, but it is a Souls-like, game. And I decided, what I'm going to do is I know absolutely nothing about this game. I'm going to start it super fresh, and I'm going to stream it. And I'm letting people like in watch in real time what I'm doing as I'm figuring these things out. And I will honestly say, I don't think I would have enjoyed the game playing it completely by myself, but playing it as like while I'm streaming it and having to be like, oh, I'm not going to look something up or I'm not going to ask for help because that's the point of what I'm doing. And it kept me entirely honest while playing this game. And it honestly, it sparked that love for that challenge again. And I have a whole new, brand new like appreciation for the game solely because I'm doing this in front of like, people who are watching me live and I'm rocking through this game. And when I get to a point when you get that genuine reaction where you're like, what the, you're like, I could throw this thing, I could throw it right now, but I got a bunch of people watching me and I'm not going to throw it, so you're like, all right, I'm going to chill out. And then it becomes like, but it almost retains that focus because now, I got people in the chat who are like, hey, I got advice for you. And I go, fine, finally give me some advice. And they're like, hey, have you tried not getting hit? And I go, oh, that's funny. And they're like,
well,
oh,
that's what Afro
if,
says to me all the time. Have you ever tried getting good? And I'm
yeah,
like, have you ever tried not dying?
Have you tried doing more damage? And I'm like, and it becomes like this funny thing where now it's like this goofing back and forth. And I'm like, oh, I didn't try not getting hit this time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try. You know what I mean? And it's like it's this back and forth. And it's honestly, I don't think I've enjoyed this game more. I don't think I would enjoy it as much as I am while streaming it. It's just that new element that I feel like me personally I needed just to feel that feeling again,
Well, that's the thing too. That's what I do. Like I've never, like I said, play Lies of P or Bloodborne, and you do it with your stream. You do it on stream, and whoever comes in, and then that's how you develop it. Like that's the joy of being a streamer. Like those are the joys. And when people come in and they're like, oh, how do you become a streamer? This and that. You're doing it. Just interact with the person. Just go through everything. Like raw emotions, just go through it. Like, yeah, I have this controller. I'm going to throw it out the window. There are times Afro came into my stream. Is like, have you ever tried not dying? Well, like, and you caught me at a pivotal point where it's like, I'm ready to just kill whoever. Like I just want to strangle them. And then I have to like, dude, I am so close to banning you right now. And he's like, but it's true though. Like you just have to have like those people that come in and just like shoot the shit with you and just honestly like they're the ones that make your stream and you just that's what it is.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody today, like literally a couple hours ago, where I was like, when it comes to streaming, I think I would much rather 5 people show up to my stream and interact than 100 people just watching me.
Yeah.
Because I don't stream for the like I'm not shooting for view count numbers. I'm not shooting for like a certain amount of, this, that, and the other things. I'm not trying to, hey, to go big would be sick. All right. But it's not, that's not what I'm like. I'm not, it's not my goal. It is a goal, but it's not something that I'm like, oh, this is what I need in life. This is something I'm doing on my free time. I'm having a good time with it. I do this, I do the podcast, this is what I'm producing content because I'm enjoying it. And I'm just hoping that, hey, maybe there's some, a group of people out there who also want to enjoy my content. And so like, I would much rather have 5 people in my stream just being like, hey, loving this, do this, try this. Hey, if you, what'd you do, over the weekend, would you, like having that interaction than to have my view count at like 100, 200, 300, where I'm getting absolutely no interactions. They're just watching what I'm doing. And that's why, like, I don't, somebody said a little while back where they were like, hey, if you want to hit these like, stream goals or whatever, like you can buy, bots or you can do that. And I'm like, listen, if that's what you want to do, I'm all for it, do your thing. But like, I want to know at the end of the day that the people who are following me and the people who are in the, like in my, like, little community and stuff, I want to know that these people are genuinely like interested in the stuff that I'm doing. Because like when you become like these, like, big streamers, eventually you get to a point where you can't talk to everybody.
No.
So you're basically just talking to yourself, where like these massive streamers, right? You get like Ninja and stuff. Like, all right, dude, like, yeah, you're killing it. Way to go. You've done it. I pat you on the back. I applaud you. All the power to you. But there is absolutely no possibility that you can have a conversation with all 1.1 million people who are like in your chat currently while you play this game. You are basically just sitting there playing a game. You're broadcasting at this point.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
pretty
I'm
much.
not. I'm not. I'm not at that point. I don't want to do that. Like I
No.
don't
And
want
you-
to.
Well,
I
and
want
I
to
think
have. I want to have the interactions.
I
Yeah.
think also with like with especially this happens a lot more with podcasting though too. Is like with streaming, I use like someone like I'm gonna use Queso for example, right? But like watching him, half the time all he's just saying like you don't have a voice. Your name is just chat. That's all you are. You're
Yeah.
just chat. I need to go do blah blah blah.
Right.
I gotta do whatever. Oh, y'all in Miami, Florida? Oh, hell no. I don't think I could be in Miami. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I couldn't do that. But like,
Is
no,
that chat that keeps popping up?
yeah, it's the chat that pops up.
Oh, cool. What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, so this is
I was
Ennis,
wondering what
the
that
new
was.
person. Ennis, what's up? Yeah, so I can just end up just pulling up any of the chat things at any moment.
Oh,
That's why I
sweet.
said it's kind of cool about it.
Yeah, that's
About the
cool. I like
live
that.
No, I think that like I like having that interaction between people. I don't get very many people on mine because mine are more niche anyways. And I'm totally fine with that. You know what
Honestly,
Well,
with
and you know what? Oh, I'm so sorry.
oh no, it's okay. I was just gonna say like, yeah, I know Afro like we got him into the streaming thing, but you know what? He's more podcast, and this is where like I'm happy to have him kick off into the podcast, because I feel his numbers are seriously gonna skyrocket there more. I'm more into the streaming aspect of it, but again, I get asked outside of streaming, oh, do you see any growth in your numbers, or how many people do you have in your stream at this time, like while I'm live? And you know what? Just because I see either 0 or 1, or maybe I might see 1 to 4, I always say I don't look at the numbers because the number doesn't mean anything. There's more people that probably lurk more than they do in like interact, engage.
Mhm.
Of course.
But I've actually had a
Love the
new
lurkers.
and I've actually had a new chatter one time come to my stream and say, like when I first was growing, they said, I don't like what you're playing. And I sat there and I'm like, okay. I'm like, happy that you're here. They're like, I wasn't done yet. I'm like, oh. They're like, I don't like the games that you play. I like you for who you are. I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, you're real. You're genuine.
I don't like you for your money. I like you for you,
Yeah.
your personality.
Well, actually, no, that's the way it is. Like they said your personality. They're like, you're genuine. They're like, they even said, I've watched other streamers, and like you said, they're at this point when you call chat, but you're not calling an individual out. They
Right.
feel like they're in the background.
Right.
But
Right.
and you see these people and they're just calling out their friends and their friends only. But it's like, no, your chat is your chat. Like right now we see Enos, we see like when we see Luke in the chat. And yeah, that's right. I acknowledged you guys because I looked at the chat. But other streamers they won't. They won't look at their chat. They will just see chat.
Well, I
Right.
mean, okay, so I will say though too, that when if you sit and watch some of their chats though too, they move so quickly
Yes.
that they don't even have time. A lot of times they'll like
Right.
let's say I've watched I watched a bit of Hassan, right? One time. And don't recommend. But like it's but his was just it was a constant. You're just watching the chat just flying up. And so he's like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah," "Oh yeah, no, I totally agree." And then it was just that was it. Like you don't even get a chance to see no more. Unless something really sticks out to him. But I think half the time, I think sometimes they just don't even care. So like I think having to build a strong community, especially in more of a niche audience, right? Because I mean, gaming is going to be a little more niche than let's say some of these bigger ones like political stuff, or even the people's personality though too is a really big thing, like you mentioned. I like having just that small group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like having that small group. I like having the interactions between people and all that. If people get a chance to lurk on the page, it's fantastic. If not, that's okay. I prefer to do this. I would sit and rather do this and do like a tier maker thing. You know what I mean? Something kind of fun. So like, for example, there was one I was planning on doing. I started it up, but I did not have the energy to do it. But it's going to be one coming up here. It's going to be a tier maker list of taking all the Smash Bros characters and which Smash Bros characters that I could kick their ass myself. So, like the first one they had on that list is Bayonetta, and I was like, no.
Yeah, you're like, nah,
Nah,
not happening.
No, it's not happening. Like, but I think I could beat the shit out of Olimar. So like, but yeah, like, so, well, it's just, it's, yeah, what up, Wolf? It's one of those, I was gonna say one of those, like stories, like streaming and that kind of stuff. That's the stuff I have the most fun with.
Mm-hmm.
And that it also equals up to the most engaging.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I've somebody who jumped into my chat a little while back, and it was cool because they liked what I do, but kind of going off, what Scorpio said, like they said like, hey, I don't play these games, like they're more of like a cozy game type of like player. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. It's not every game is for everyone kind of thing. But they like my vibe. So they stuck around. They're in every single, in every single one of my streams. They're always popping up from, start to finish. And it's super cool. And it got to a point where I got to know, shout out Silly Frog. I got to know Silly Frog really well. And now Silly Frog's one of my moderators. And it's super sick.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's great. Yeah, you got Silly Frog in yours. I got a Surfane in mine.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like for example,
like
me
the trolls.
and Scorp, like I started talking to these other dudes. They go by level down podcast.
Yeah.
And we did shout out to Level Down. They're absolutely amazing, two amazing dudes. And I mean, me and Scorp have done a couple podcasts with them as well. And fantastic. It's fun to see how you connect with others. Just through podcasting or through streaming, whatever. It's honestly, it's super enjoyable because you do find people who are going to be more like-minded.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. Like, we're all like, there's a very, very small percentage of streamers who have gone big, right? And then there's also a small percentage of streamers who started and stuck to it. And I think that like what at least my like goal through all of this, like I started with the podcast. I started podcasting before I started doing streaming, and I was like, well, if the podcast is about gaming, and all I do is talk about gaming and why gaming is amazing to to the person I'm talking to the guest on the show, to friends that I have on and stuff, like if we're talking about all this gaming and stuff and then I'm not gaming itself, what am I doing? So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to set this all up. I'm going to start streaming. So you want to see what I'm talking about while I'm doing like the podcast episodes. You want to talk about like why, like for right now, right? Currently in stream, we're working our way through Baldur's Gate 3. I am a huge nerd. I love Baldur's Gate 3. It is hands down one of my favorite games, top tier all the way. I love it so much. And we're working our way right through Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm like telling people, like there's people in chat and stuff who were like Baldur's Gate 3, that's not a game for me. Like I don't like the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I don't like the turn-based, like this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, listen, if you want to hang out, I'll show you why this game is so amazing. Like this is where we're at. But I'm doing a little twist with my stream. You jump in the chat. If you're first to answer, you get to choose the decision we're making. So I'm building the characters and I'm running through the game. But when we get to decisions, you choose. And so it could go either way. And chat's almost gotten me killed, like, I don't know, 8 times now. And it's ridiculous. But it's so fun. It's fun for them. It's interactive for them. It's fun for me because it's an extra layer of challenge for me. And it's the engagement that I'm really truly there for to begin with. And so it's this constant back and forth that I just absolutely love so much. And then we have like a new person who's maybe been lurking for a while. They jump in and now they're a first time chatter. How you doing? Tell me about yourself. Tell me about what's going on. Because you're the first time chatter, welcome to the stream. You choose the next decision,
Right.
and it's this constant back and forth. Like I want to, above anything, I'm all about the community. I'm all about teaming up. I'm all about doing like, crossover stuff like we're doing today. Like I'm all about it. I want to build. I don't see anybody ever becoming or reaching the goals that they want to do by themselves. It's such a rare, thing to occur. We got to build each other up. We got to be there, team up with each other, build each other up, do the things together. That's what's going to matter. That's what's going to build the communities and stuff. Like I said, like I was telling you earlier before we even started this, I got a buddy I've been friends with for like years now. Probably like 2012 to maybe 2015, somewhere in there is when we became friends. I just found out yesterday the dude's been streaming for 5 years. It's like, how do we not? And it's because just those parts of our lives have never crossed until recently.
Exactly. No, exactly. And that's like where I'm hoping to, because I want to branch out with this one as well and keep on moving with it and stuff. Has any of you tried the first to send us yet? Yep. I'll do that in 1 second. I definitely have.
I'm rocking through that right now.
I haven't.
I was not. I don't know. It felt okay.
It takes some time to get. All right, I'll say this: you got to warm up to it. It is good. It's free.
Yep. That's why it's still there.
Yeah, you got to warm up to it. It's one of those games that doesn't entirely hold your hand in the way that you would kind of expect it to. Like the tutorial is kind of shit. But like learning how to actually upgrade your weapons, how to like do certain things like missions and stuff to like kind of help you like level up so that you're not just absolutely getting your ass handed to you during like other missions and stuff. This is one of those games that you can't just go story mission to story mission to story mission and be successful all the way through. Like you actually have to kind of like do some of the side stuff to be able to get yourself leveled up. And then on top of that, there's like research things. So doing certain missions will give you the research, material that you then have to go to the research spot and then spend that time doing the research to get those, other materials to upgrade your stuff. So it's a little complex, but it is really good. Now, again, it's not for everyone, but I stand by this one. This one actually has surprised me. I'm truly enjoying this one. And this is coming from a guy who wasn't even a huge fan of Destiny. It's like Destiny. It's almost, it feels like what Destiny should have been. Bam, drop mic.
No, that makes sense. How about we talk about Bunny's cheeks? They're very popular right now.
All right, listen. Who is that? Wolf? If we're talking Bunny, okay, you got to go Ultimate Bunny, and that's the only acceptable answer. All right. if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. But if not, there you go.
I'll have to probably go play through the game now to go witness Ultimate Bunny.
Ultimate Bunny has, I think, is the most sought after skin in the game, and it's real anime.
No, I'm not even surprised at this point. You
look it up?
I'm not going to. It can't be any different than Stellar Blade. Like Stellar Blade was the same way. Like it was just, it's like, hey, you can get all these skins, and you're like, oh, what kind of costumes do you have? Well, okay then.
Yeah, it's really funny. You can have like a full panda bear suit. You can have just like a backpack with a dog holding a Coke can in it, and it's got all these like really cute like things. And then Ultimate Bunny shows up, and you're like, "What is this?"
I need Ultimate Bunny. Why? Because
that's what everybody else is doing. They're like, "Yeah, Ultimate Bunny stats are great," and then like the character shows up, and then it's just silence for like 10 seconds. They're like, "Yeah, anyway, so Ultimate Bunny, I think is something I'm gonna go for."
Yeah, it's like why do you like that? Oh yeah, she's my favorite character. Why? Well, I really like or she has a really good aura around her,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure she's a Sagittarius
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I had somebody in chat the other day that I actually had to commend for being super honest. Because I was like, yo, who's your main? Like, who do you play? And they were like, Bunny. And I was like, oh yeah, why Bunny? And they were just like, oh, because she's hot. And I was like, all right, hey, listen, I appreciate you being honest with me right now.
Yeah, I know, straight up though. Like, I appreciate the honesty. Like, I'd rather have that than I just like her character.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's
I will say
fair.
though, Bunny's stats are absolutely stacked. It is like the build that you can do with Bunny is pretty insane. And then I guess with Ultimate Bunny, you get like some extra like gear or something that just makes you unbelievable.
So that's true. Oh, this is interesting. It's good on paper, but the bigger you grow, the more quality you'll have to sacrifice, whether you want to or not. Plenty of streamers start off small with integrity, just turn into popular degenerates. Yeah, not saying to not chase your goals, but I've seen it happen time and time again. You're on it, Ennis. You're not wrong. Like, you
No.
really aren't. I've seen quite a few streamers that try to start off good and then turn out to be kind of just sellouts. But when they start chasing that clout, I understand that that's how growth works.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate people who can kind of keep true to themselves.
Well, I think
even a little bit.
Yeah, that's the goal, is that at the end of the day, being yourself is what's truly important. Because when you first start off and you have like nobody following you, nobody's watching you and stuff, you're just being you, and that's what people gravitate towards. Like like when people started following, like, I don't know, let's say, like, I keep using Ninja as an example, but Ninja's huge. People started originally following Ninja because he was doing like crazy shit in like video games, and he was competing before he was streaming. And so like he had a name, he had a reputation, he had an attitude. But eventually you kind of grow up and you blow up in popularity, and you almost become like you're no longer
Celebrity
who.
almost.
Yeah, exactly. And so then you start doing the whole thing where your image is an icon. You get big deals, you start wearing a bandana and dyeing your hair and stuff, and it's no longer for like you've become a character and less of who you are itself. And that's kind of what I think, like, we lose as we gain popularity. Is you lose that bit of yourself that originally wanted to be a streamer, or wanted to do like podcasting, or wanted to be a movie actor, or wanted to be a musician. I mean, you think about it, like, what you see it every day on the news. Oddly enough, you get actors who came out like, what happened to you get actors who go out there and they're like, hey, this will be my big break, and they get super famous, and then the whole world destroys them on their appearance. And instead of just being like, hey man, this is who I am, this is my skill, this is what I love to do, then all of a sudden they're like, you got 16 different, nutritionists, you got 16 different, personal fitness things. You're spending all your money on looks, cars, appearances, this, that, and the other thing. And then eventually we just get a Tom Cruise where you're like, oh, that guy's just a douche. And then nobody wants to watch it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's at some point along the line, you lose who you are. And that's where I think, a lot of people really lose the viewership, the following, and the whatever.
Well, I think also people change when they start throwing those dollar signs at you. Like when you start seeing like, hey, we need, or not even just the dollar signs, but also you'll see people jump from, let's say they start off as streaming and they enter a political space.
Yeah.
Right. I know like the one of the streamers, Destiny, did that, where he started off as a gamer, then he went into the political side of things, and or they'll do what I personally don't like is the grifting side of things, where they might take a certain side on something, and then they just run with it for as long as possible.
Right. And not even give like a big shout out or anything, but like that one streamer, Asmongold. I like the dude. I don't agree with a lot of the things he says, but I also agree with a good bit of what he says. But the one thing I like about him is that he doesn't like throw his money all up in people's faces. He's actually kind of I don't know if you've seen the videos or the the news or whatever with like the gaming realm or whatever. But Twitch is getting to the point where they actually might have to make him like an affiliate or a partner and all that stuff, because he didn't do it because he doesn't want his his group, his like followers and stuff, to have to like sit there and watch like ads after ads after ads. So he declined it all. But the way that Twitch works with like streaming and stuff is that they get a little money off of that viewership of the ads and stuff, but he declined it. So Twitch is actually losing money with his fan base, and it's solely because like he only spends like 1 or 2% of his actual like income. But at the end of the day, when it really boils down to it, what I truly actually enjoy so much about that guy is that he does not give a shit. He will always be from the moment he wakes up, from the moment he goes to bed, he's always the same guy. The genuine like person that he is. What people like it, people don't. He'll argue his opinions. His opinions are his own, but he will stick by them. And that honestly gains more respect from me than anything else.
No, exactly. So we'll answer a couple of these questions here. So, like, are y'all trying to grow as gamer streamers or just streamers altogether? You go first on this one.
Me?
Yep.
So this isn't typically what I do. But I this is actually super fun. I'm really enjoying this. Kind of feels like like a round table type of situation. So I'm all for this. Man, I don't know. I'm not trying to grow as like a labeled streamer as all together, I guess. I have a podcast. I'm trying to grow the podcast because it's I like to talk about the things that I like, and enjoy. Streaming is more of like a kind of like a side thing. I do stream for like about an hour or so in the beginning, and it's just chatting. Like I just talk. I just like to get to know my community, and I like the interactions. And then the last however long I'm streaming, I'm playing a game and talking to like chat. So like I don't know if oh man, maybe I'm not the best person to start this conversation. Like I'm not like, I don't know. Like I'm not trying to, specifically grow, I guess. Like growing is awesome. I would love to grow, as a community, but I think it's more just something that I enjoy, that I'm just putting out into the world, and maybe just hoping that people like it.
No, that makes sense.
Do you want to go next, or
yeah, I'll go next. So I would say, am I trying to grow all streamers, just the streamers altogether? I think more or less, yes. My goal is to grow, and to eventually to make this bigger and stuff. Right now, because it is kind of a part-time thing, more of a hobby thing at the moment, just because of everything I have going on. But my goal is to eventually make it into something where, yes, I'll be able to, like obviously today we have almost like you said, a round table kind of thing, and definitely would love to make that grow, bigger and bigger, into something that, might be, I'm not saying it's going to be, I'm not saying it would be something like just gaming related, because obviously we don't talk just gaming. We talk kind of, we kind of talk a little bit about a little bit of everything that just we enjoy. It just gaming is just a heavy part. But I also just enjoy, having that conversation, having that chatting, and all that other kind of stuff. So I think I guess, man, I actually started thinking about it. I started moving myself into that gamer streamers.
Yeah,
I just talked myself into it.
I think I kind of want to like just say, like, I feel like you and I kind of have the same mentality. I think the proper term is, I think I want to just grow as a content creator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because
Well,
I don't want to be put into a box. Sorry, I just keep interrupting you, dude.
no,
That's my
It's
bad.
fine.
So yeah, you see where I stand. Yeah. Well, I was gonna give a thing about saying about how usually I'm in the background of Afro's thing, just trying to force him to be that. But you know what? Maybe I should stop. Maybe let him go on his. Nah, I'm just joking. But like I did right on the side there, yeah. Like I personally do it just as a side thing. Do I wish I want to grow big? Yeah. Like not to the point of like being super famous and like because it'll just again like we were saying it just clouds your judgment. Having millions of people know you, you're gonna forget eventually who you are, like where you're from. You're not gonna remember like the community you built along the way because it's just gonna get overshadowed. For me personally,
I mean, I'll take the money. So.
well, anybody's gonna take the money, but like other than you both in the podcasting, me, I enjoy more of the streaming of gaming. I do it for fun. I do it as a side. I'm more of a variety, but more of an RPG and a shooter. So to me, I just want to be as big enough like to grow a community, to get to know more people.
Sure.
And like if I said I want to make it big, like I want to make it big enough where I could go to like a TwitchCon or a convention and wear a badge.
Oh yeah, dude.
To have people say, "Hey, I know you. You're Scorpio," or like I want to get to know you. Not like like these huge fan meet and greets. No, I want to have a name for myself that like I'm on the same platform as you. Like we can meet at a convention, enjoy each other's company, share those moments of games, like saying we are equal. We have a big fandom. Like let's get to know one another. Like welcome into my community. Like it's for everybody and anybody, just on a respectable scale. Like that's more where I want to like grow to say like I could come to the States, I can meet you, or I could come to Europe, I can meet you. Like that type of big and have a name behind me.
Yeah,
that's
huge.
Let me ask you guys. So when doing the like content creation stuff, where do you guys like put yourselves out there? Like what are your like preferred like go-tos? Like what are your methods and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, do you like use like mainly social media, or do you like, is it like word of mouth? Do you like kind of like, do you go and like put your stuff out there like places? Do you self-advertise?
Yeah, so I like obviously. I mean, you've seen before. TikTok is where I do most of my self-advertising.
That's where you and I met.
Yep. So that's where TikTok is where most of mine come through. I was doing Instagram. I stopped doing Instagram for a while just because it was getting to the point where it was kind of a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out a better way to balance that. The only thing that sucks too is so unlike Twitch and YouTube, Instagram, like if, for example, if I wanted to stream on Instagram, I could actually stream on Instagram. However, I have to re-go through, get a new stream key, all that other kind of stuff. And then let's say, God forbid, I accidentally close out, because I've done this where I accidentally closed out early when I was trying to test this. Now I have to go back in, grab another stream key, redo all that stuff again. And I got to the point where I'm like, yo, this is kind of fucking stupid.
Right.
So I will be putting stuff on Instagram. Like I'll be taking sections of this. Hopefully, if my creator thing lets me do it, breaking it apart into sections so I can put pieces into this. TikTok is one I'm going to definitely have to work on. It's just getting the time to do it because I always feel like I'm always so flustered as is.
Yeah.
But like social media, but the big one is social media. When I'm talking to people too, like what I've done sometimes is so let's say for me, Borderlands is a big thing. Like Borderlands is a big thing for me. So what I'll do is I will actually jump into someone's stream on Borderlands and I just start up a conversation with them.
Yeah, of course.
So I've done that many times. It's been very hit or miss, but I have found people to actually enjoy it, who has enjoyed that, where I jump in, I start talking to them, things start getting along, and I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, oh, you play? Okay, I'll play too. I play up on stream, you know what I mean? I stream and stuff like that. You know, oh, you do this? Okay, cool. You know, so I try to figure that stuff out as well.
Okay.
Very hit or miss, but like I said, it works. You know what I mean? When it works, it works.
Sweet. Okay.
For me, I just stream on Twitch. I've made a YouTube channel way back in 2016. There's nothing on it. I never really had the setup to actually make great videos. It's more of overcoming my own mental laziness of saying every day I always want to build these projects and just never get my ass to actually fully grow. So, but my main focus was I chose either try to go big on Twitch or try to go big on YouTube.
Sure.
Discoverability is better on YouTube, but Twitch is better more for the streaming aspect. So I decided to go more Twitch. So I made the choice of making it big on Twitch, getting the affiliate, doing more of my streams. It's more of a for me a test hub.
Yep.
If I say okay, I'm gonna stream Bloodborne, or I'm gonna stream Lies of P, or I'm gonna stream a certain series, how will it affect the certain engagement in the audience and with my community versus there? And then, okay, now that I know it goes great, now I want to do YouTube, but I want to make more walkthroughs, playthroughs, start throwing that up on the channel. So, as for hitting up all the socials, I only have Twitch right now. That's why I don't promote any other socials. But once I see something's working, now I'm in the process of, okay, I'm going to start throwing it up on YouTube soon once I start creating what I want. I'm more of an analytical thinker before of a doer. So
Okay.
I tend to think more, is it going to work in the long run? And then that's where I use Twitch as more my test theory.
Cool. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Dev, I'm not gonna lie. I'm
So,
definitely not that kind of like, oh, I'm gonna have to think about the blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, I like this, and then
yeah.
jump
Well,
in and
that's why I
start.
come out. That's why you see me like, when I say I'm an RPG and shooter, like, yeah, I could be just like, yeah, okay, a million people throw up on YouTube Baldur's Gate. I love Baldur's Gate. I put 500 hours into Baldur's Gate.
Hey, there we go.
But like when I first played it, I'm like, okay, I got 200 hours. I explored the game till its very fullest, got everything done. But I'm like, okay, I'm invested. So now I want to make a walkthrough. Okay, there's 100 different walkthroughs. How's
Yeah.
mine going to stand out any different? But you know what? I'm not caring. I'm just gonna throw something on my page eventually. But
Absolutely.
I'm gonna do it. But the thing is when I did it on Twitch, I had like everybody enjoy getting. I only did the one playthrough. It was an evil playthrough.
Hey, there
But
you go.
hey, I knew some people loved it. I didn't get as much reaction, but it's a test. You hate it, I won't play it again. You like it, I'll play it.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's cool. All right. Yeah. No, I was just curious. 'Cause, it's finding, finding your ways to kind of get yourself out there is probably the hardest thing that I've like noticed out of like all of this. Like I thought kind of, get in front of a camera, going out and putting yourself out there to the world was going to be the most difficult. And oddly enough, at least for me personally, I love it. Like it's really not a big deal, for me. But I decided, I was gonna like try to get the podcast out there first, and so I decided with the guy who does all of my tech stuff for like the show and the streaming and the podcast and everything, decided, he and I we're gonna go out to some conventions and we're gonna just live stream from conventions. And so that's what we ended up doing. We went to Too Many Games Con that just happened a couple weeks ago. I went and bought some mics, clipped up, and out we went, and we did a whole stream that like while we were doing that, and it was fun. I got to talk to some really cool people. Enjoyed like getting out there and like talking to the people who are all like-minded individuals and stuff. And I think that is going like maybe is it the right way? Is it the wrong way? I don't know if anybody will ever know. But it's
There's no
definitely
real right way or
yeah.
wrong way.
But it was like something. It was so fun that I enjoyed it so much that like I think it might be like one of the things that I might start doing more, more often. Because like even when I'm not streaming, I'm at a convention, man. Like I'm just enjoying the convention, you know. I'm out there just being a nerd in public for fun, like that's my stuff, dude,
And that's like I know, like myself. You're gonna have to let me know what mics you use and stuff. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, dude, I'll let you know the whole setup. I
please
went
do.
I
That'd be
went
great.
in the very beginning. I was like, listen, if I'm gonna do this, like I had the idea to start the podcast like well into like early of last year. And I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. Like I want to make sure I'm doing this stuff right. And I started like YouTubing a whole bunch of stuff, which was cool. Like YouTube's always so helpful. I think you and I have actually had this conversation where you don't actually need a degree anymore. You just need YouTube. Like you can learn anything on YouTube. Like it's
pretty much, yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to check some stuff out. I'm going to get, the headphones. I'm going to get like the mics, the mic stands, the cameras, the lights. So like, even with this has been a growing process, but I have 2 mics for when, like, if I'm doing the podcast, I got somebody who maybe doesn't have a setup. I just invite them over to I call this room the studio. It sounds more fancy than it is, but it's at least the way that I can say studio. So then I get, I got the mics, I got the mic setups, I got 2 sets of headphones, I got this camera that I'm using here, but I also have like the ring light thing that you see off like TikTok and stuff. So I put my phone on that one. I have the computer one there. So if I'm switching between, stuff here, and then I went and bought these like super cheap. They're actually floodlights off of I think it was like Amazon or something for like $20.
Okay.
They're just floodlights with color changing capabilities. So I throw a blue one over there, a purple one over there. I made that sign.
Sleep token?
Yep, made that sign at my job, and then I was some LED lights on the back of that. Now it just color changes. And
I was like, I've heard of sleep token before, so I was like, in my head, I'm like,
yeah, dude. And so I was just like, I just like weirdly enough, half the nerd shit that I have in this room, poor placement. It was all supposed to be on camera, and then when I went and started the project, I was like, cool. I can only put the camera right here. So like all of my stuff is over here. So you just can't see it. And I'm like, whatever.
No, that's fair. Like for me, like eventually I want to have this background be similar to like Scorpios, where it's either that or maybe I'll do like a ocean or something super serene. That's
what I'm talking about, dude. And I would say probably the biggest, honestly, like dead ass, the biggest investment out of all of this is just getting a proper like interface. Like I rock the Scarlett 2i2. That thing has been, it's perfect. Probably the most expensive out of all of my equipment. And I mean, like most expensive is like, I think $120 or something like that. Maybe 130, might even be cheaper now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm taking a look at it right now. It looks super nice.
With the XLR cables and dynamic microphones and stuff, like it's boom. The only thing I can't take credit for is I do have a tech guy who makes everything sound good. So
no, that's fair. It does really sound good.
I just got a buddy who's real into tech, and I was just like, I need to sound really good. Shout out to Viking, Nerdy Noah Reads.
Shout out to Wolf here, mermaids in the ocean background.
Like, yeah, dude.
Of course,
there you go.
Ultimate mermaid bunny. So like,
yeah,
but
dude.
yeah, like I think it'd be just it's just so like when you get the setup, and like I said, I love it too when people are like, I need to know what I all need, and I'm like, you have a phone? Yeah, okay, that's all you need. Like you just need a phone.
Well, and that's the thing. You don't. All right. So there's a need and a want. You don't need any of this stuff. No. Excuse me. You absolutely don't need any of it. I am very like, I'm not actually like OCD, but like, it's the only way I can describe it. But like, I'm very like, particular about the way, like I want to sound good and I want everything to be clear. Right. And so like I put the investment into making sure that I have equipment that makes me sound the way that I sound, and that I put the, investment into like the lights in the background and stuff. And because it came down to honestly, if I was going to invest in a green screen or if I was just going to get lights. And I decided, I'm going to do the lights because I got a whole bunch of nerd shit anyway. So I just use the room as the background kind of thing. Right. And it's been nice. It's working out.
No, but it does. Like, and that's the thing. Like, eventually, I'm gonna get myself probably a green screen, so it'll actually look a little bit better.
$30 off Amazon.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I'll send you a link. They're pretty cheap.
Yeah, I think Wolf actually mentioned that there's Prime Days coming up or whatever. Because
there's also some really good ones that'll just attach to the back of your chair, so you don't even have to like invest in the big screen.
So I know Wolf also too. Wolf said he's like, could you ask something? It's kind of related to how I feel, but I want a general opinion on this. Okay.
Hey, I'll always give an opinion.
Let's see. So this is like okay. So I think this is it, right? This is it, Wolf.
Yeah.
The 2 parts here. Okay.
Yeah, that's his question.
Okay. So I've come to the point now where I'm gaming for about 3 years and 1 month. On top of that now, and now it's come to a point where I just didn't enjoy games that I played. Let it be anything. So until this new game that came out picked up, I would just sit every day and take a while to decide what to play. Ever just felt like this is not that for the moment. If you've ever encountered that,
Basically, have we encountered that we like when a game until a new game comes out, have we ever encountered a point where we're like
You're
there's
through game
nothing to
exhaustion.
stream? Yeah, like a gaming stump.
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
Like, have we ever come to that? Yeah.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. I would say I've come to moments where I go to play, and I've noticed for myself because there's certain games where I play that when I start to go, especially go to replay the game, my brain instantly clicks to like a certain point in the game. Do I want to go through this again?
Yeah.
For example, Persona 5 is one of my personal favorite games of all time, by far. Persona 5 Royal especially. However, there's like one of the palaces you go into. The whole thing until you get to the palace is fucking boring.
Yeah.
It is absolutely terrible. And if anybody's played Persona 5 Royal, probably know exactly where I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It is just heavily boring, and it makes me want to sit back and be like, "Fuck, do I really want to go through this again?"
Right.
When I was younger, it was the fucking water temple. Like it was the water temple. It's not because the water temple is bad. It's got great music, and I actually think the design is not that bad.
Nah, it's super good.
It's just the fact of like
it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I go through, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Fuck, I forgot where to go."
Yep.
And my brain's like, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man." Like so, I think for me, that's usually where I get to that, where I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I want to play this? Yeah, I haven't had that right now with Borderlands.
Yeah.
I love Borderlands with a fucking passion, but there also comes to the point where I'm like, fuck, there's like moments in this game where I'm just not having any time. Like the story doesn't engage me to keep on going. The gameplay does, but the story doesn't.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's moments in there where I'm like, I just don't care.
Yep.
That's usually for me what I do is I will actually I'll have something where I might be actually listening to a YouTube video because I don't think about it. I just move at that point. Or what I'll do is I'll just stop playing that game for a while and I'll try to find something new. There's so many indie games out there where I'll sit there and start going through indie game after indie game after indie game, and I might just come back to it. Like there comes a point, at least to me, where I'm like, yeah, I'm just not. It's not just about gaming anymore. It's also about streaming. So it's kind of disappoints me sometimes because I never got to see any growth I expected. Well, you expect something, right? I mean, I honestly don't expect growth. I'm happy if it's there, and when I put the work in, yes, like I would love to see growth. Like no one's gonna see. Like I would love to get to a point where I could do this full time. But I also I'm gonna be real with it and just be like, if it doesn't get there this time, it might get there next time. If it doesn't get there this time, it might get there next time. And I know there's been multiple times where I've streamed, and I'm just, or even if I've gotten close to streaming, where I'm like, yeah, I'll tell Scorpio, yeah, I'm gonna stream tonight, and I stream for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, dude, I'm either just tired or I just do not feel like doing this right now.
Yeah. Well, Scorpio, you go next because I got some harsh opinions on this one.
Okay. Yeah. To answer his question, like I answered it in the chat, but basically all the time, it's even like Afro saying, even just streaming. For me, I do my streams 4 hours, 5 days a week, and I've gotten to the point now where I'm even changing it up as for certain days. I used to in the beginning go about 12 hours plus in streams. And it's like you're probably wondering, how do you go so long but not get so bored? But throughout the stream, even certain days that on my off time, I'm like, I don't know what to stream, but I'll throw something on in the meantime. But it's like I hit that point to to say it's a trick of the mind. I tell myself, I'm like, if I hit a low point, it'll affect my mood. But that's why I always like look at the chat. And even if there's no one in the chat, but there's just that number 1 for viewership, I just look at it. But I'm not looking at it as if to say, oh, why is there nobody watching? Why am I bothered? Like, why not just end the stream now? No, I look at it as like, just push on. Look at the game. Trick your mind as you go. So every day, like I stream, and even if I hit that low point or I'm getting bored point, I just look at the clock and say 4 hours. 4 hours is a minimum. Just push it to the 4-hour mark. Once you hit that mark, you don't know what's gonna happen. So when I stream usually at night, I stream at like 6:30 p.m. Eastern. By the time it hits that 10, almost 11-ish, Wolf would jump in, or Afro might jump in, or anybody might jump in, because it's like, whether they're an hour behind or they're 6 hours ahead, there's always that somebody will jump in, and it'll spark a new. Okay, now we got a new breath in us. Say, even though the stream is coming to an end, at least I could recap it. It's like, oh my god, there's my friends to come into the chat.
Right.
And that's what and that's more what it is. Again, it's the community. I'm not playing the game for the game. I'm playing for the community. That's the way I look at it. So I'm always telling myself, are you making it big just because you're playing a video game, or you just want to interact with anybody that'll come in? So that's where I kind of sit.
Okay. Well, here we go. So for the starter, I've definitely had the gamer burnout many times. I have a lot of like games that they're like my go-to games. Shadow of War is one of my favorites. I love going into that game and just trying to, basically release, losing like many like towers and such, and then going in there and just having to retake everything. It's just it's a fun, game that I can always come back to and enjoy time and time again. Right now, it's killing me. I'm waiting for like the wave of this year's new games to come out. I'm dying for them. Luckily, Baldur's Gate 3 is a big favorite of mine. You can play Baldur's Gate 3 a million times over and over. You get the same beginning, you get the same ending. It's how you get there is your choice completely. And so that's something that I truly enjoy time and time again. When it comes to the streaming thing, though, here's where interaction is always super important, but I would even say learn to talk to yourself the most. Talking to yourself when you think about, you gotta, I wouldn't always say like compare yourself to other streamers at all, but compare yourself to yourself. Think of your stream as if you were to enter your stream. You know what I'm saying? So like the way that I'm going into it, like if I were to come into my own stream and watch myself play, am I being super quiet, just staring at a screen? Is it, am I just wandering, not talking about the things that I'm doing in my game? Like learn to talk to yourself and learn to just kind of get comfortable with just talking to yourself. Because when you come into a stream, you are looking for the game. You're looking for the streamer and their quality of like, enjoyment of the game. If you're entering a stream and the streamer doesn't seem to be giving a shit about the game, then me as a viewer, I'm also not going to give a shit about the game. So play the game that you're truly enjoying, but have fun with it. So like I like the challenge, and I like to get the chat interactions and stuff. So when I always throw my chats and stuff out there, or my subjects or whatever out there, I'm like, hey, listen, we're playing Baldur's Gate 3. You're making my decisions. You show up in chat, you make my decisions. All right. So you now have the choice to completely derail my game, or you can help me in my game. Either way, it's going to be fun for me. It's going to be fun for you as a viewer, and it creates interactions. The other thing is reactions. How you react to a situation is going to be how your viewers are going to view you as a streamer and as your stream. It sounds like I'm talking a big game. I'm not a big streamer at all. But my goal every time I stream is that I'm going to have fun no matter if there is one person watching, if there is 400 people watching, if there is 6 people in chat, or if there's 50 people in chat. Like I'm going to have fun regardless. I talk to myself all the time, especially when I start a stream. There's like nobody watching, which is fine. I just go on about stuff. Sometimes I'll go on huge rants and then somebody will comment and I will have forgotten that there are people watching me.
Yeah,
You know
I've
what I
had
mean?
that done before.
Yeah, 100%. And so like the burnout is 100% real. And if you need to take a break, take that break, because that break is going to be more detrimental to you than it is your viewers. Take that break, take that mental health moment to step back and like kind of reset yourself. When you come back to streaming, don't apologize for it. Don't say, "Hey, I'm sorry that I've been out, for so long. I am sorry that I haven't been doing all these things." Don't apologize. Come back, start fresh, and produce your content, because I would appreciate a streamer more if they took a much needed break, came back, hit the ground running, and produced what they wanted to produce, than if somebody who was just forcing the content out and just slowly losing the desire to do it day in and day out. Because if your streamer loses the desire, then me as a viewer loses the desire. So it's a harsh truth, and it sucks to hear, but it is a reality. And I think the bottom line throughout all of this is mental health. I am a huge advocate for mental health. Take the mental health, take it seriously, and take the breaks that you need, because anyone who tells you that, like, oh, you're not going to be good enough, or you tell yourself, oh, nobody's going to watch my shit, doesn't matter. You did, take it or leave it, throw it in the trash, throw it out the window. Don't just ignore that voice, because something I learned when I started the podcast is that the whole reason I even started the podcast was because I wanted to listen to a very specific thing in podcasting. I want to hear people talk about gaming, and I want to hear about why those games are good. I don't want to hear about it's super good because this mechanic allows you to do this, or this does whatever. No. I honestly don't give a shit. What I do care about is why Ratchet and Clank is Afro's like #1 game. I want to know why Ocarina of Time was such a passionate game throughout all of our childhoods. I want to know why, the Paperboy game that no one ever seems to know about was one of the top games, Nintendo 64, because it's what a game makes you feel. And as a streamer, you are producing that feeling and putting it out into the world. You know what I mean? So like when I started doing the podcast, all I did was I started doing the podcast because I'd made content that I wanted to hear that I wasn't finding anywhere. So now I'm creating the content that I want somebody to hear, because I know that if I want to hear it, there are other people who want to hear about it. And that is only proven to be correct. People have found the podcast. I don't advertise it more than using Facebook or Instagram or something. I don't pay for the ads. I don't pay to get my stuff out there. I let people find it. They say, hey, I love this. I'm going to share it with my friends. Awesome. Word of mouth is one of the biggest things, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And you also have to be willing that every time you get in front of that camera and you start up your stream, that you are going to have a good time. And hey, maybe tonight you're scheduled to stream and you're just not feeling it. Maybe you just need to sit down and play a game that you really love. Do it, because your viewers are not going to watch if you're not having a good time.
Exactly. No, that's so true.
Sorry, huge rant, but I'm so passionate about this stuff.
No,
Like,
it's absolutely perfect, and I can hear it throughout your voice. And I think also too is, I mean, the piggyback off of what you said about, like, so for example, I had a stream where I was playing through Elden Ring, and it was actually getting to me. Like, it was to the point where I was at a point where it was starting to absolutely destroy.
course,
And Scorp was in there too.
It's tough, dude.
During that time. Yeah, it just like it was, you know, a lot of it was because, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it was my fault. It was like a panic roll here, or sometimes I didn't fully understand the grasp of some of the fights I was in.
Yeah.
Like during actually, for example, actually when I was fighting one of the character I was fighting earlier before we started this, is one of the things is that he has an ability where he can almost like use like telekinesis and pull you towards it. I'm not really understanding where the length between them is, because I'm like, you know, if there was something that could show, oh, he's about to use it. Yeah, but I mean, maybe if I dodge roll, but I don't understand the timing of the dodge roll and I don't understand the length of the distance, you know. But what was happening was I was getting so bad that I actually ended up stopping the stream. And it was just because like I was taking hit after hit. What I did was I stopped and I actually just went to go play something else. I played something, for me, it's playing something just mind numbing. Madden for me right now is just a mind numbing game.
Yeah.
I drop back and I throw football, you know, and so like it's just something that simple, you know. But that's, for me, is like how I found a way to deal with my own mental sanity.
Yeah.
Obviously my wife is a prime example. She helps it a lot too. You know, but I think, like you said, the mental health thing, it does. It is. It's, you know, for me, like when I go and I don't stream for very long. At the most I stream is only for like a couple hours, because my mentality, especially with my ADHD, can't sit in the same place for this long.
Bro, ADHD and streaming are like worst nightmares.
No, they are.
You gotta. It's finding that way to use it as your superpower. Holy shit.
It is, absolutely. Like, it is like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm gaming out on there and I'm not thinking, or like I'm talking with someone else. So like I'll have, you know, sometimes Scorpio will be in a thing, so I'll just be like chatting with him, just bullshitting with him or something like that. That stuff helps a lot, because especially, like I said, with ADHD, your mind wants to be all over. You know, that was what really kills it for me.
Dude, I constantly ask chat to like try to keep me on track, because I'll be like, all right, I have to go back to we were playing Lords of the Fallen, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go back to this spot because I specifically need to like upgrade this, or like, you know, do something with my weapon or something. And then I'll be like, okay, and then I'll go over here and I'll start talking to these people, and then I'm started talking with, like, you know, people in my chat, and then I'm like, interview, or interacting with like the NPCs, and I'm like goofing around with them, and next thing you know, it's been an hour and I go, why am I here? What are we doing here? And then I'll be like, oh, don't worry about it. And then I'll just warp to wherever we're going. And then chat will be like, yeah, remember you needed to do this with your weapon? And I go, oh my God. Exactly. And I'm like, I'm so far away now. Now I got to go all the way back, man. Like,
and the one thing I also really like to do, and this is what helps me out, is that I personally like having some games that are specifically just designed not for streaming.
Oh yeah.
I will keep like certain games, like let's say I want to go stream Cyberpunk, which I might go stream Cyberpunk because it's been a long time.
You should.
And you know, I shouldn't have left you, but like you know, but I'm going to probably stream that again. However, there are some games. I have Persona 3. I don't stream that. That is my just for me time. You know, I like having certain games that are, even on Elden Ring, I have full builds that are specifically designed not for streaming.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are just the most ridiculous, like, you know, maybe a faith build or something like that. But like my big Unga Bunga Bonk build is just literally designed for the stream, and I like having that because sometimes where I want to play my game, or play like Elden Ring, or play something else, and I can't because I don't want to go too far, and then people are like, well, where, you know, why are you over here now? I don't like doing it.
It's also hard, like picking a game that requires too much of your attention. We tried, what was it called? Hunt Shadow something, or
Hunt Showdown.
There you go. Bang. Yeah. We tried playing that one, and first off, the tutorial took like over an hour. That was ridiculous. But yeah, we started playing it, and I started noticing that like you really need to focus in that game. And I'm like, dude, I'm completely ignoring everyone in my chat because I'm just trying to play this damn game. And then it just got to the point where I was just like, yeah, we can't play this game because I'm doing is I'm completely ignoring all of you.
We should all play Overcooked.
Is that the chef one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But like, no, and that's how it is. Like, I mean, so for example, like if I went and I'm considered streaming it, Scorp, but I'm considered streaming Hot Shots Golf a little bit. Shut up. The game's awesome.
Bro, yeah, especially with friends.
Yeah,
hell yeah, dude.
So like I've been playing Hot Shots. I also get like about as mad as I get with Madden is about as mad as I get with Hot Shots. It's about as mad as I get with Elden Ring. Like it's just like the Elden Ring of sports games because like I don't understand how grass works. But
100%, dude, 100%.
But like no, there's some games where I like having it just for my own quality me time. The ones I don't have to think about. So like for example, if I do stream, right, I was streaming through Arkham Asylum. And then I kind of gave my own thing about Arkham Asylum, like afterwards. Like I was gonna do Arkham City, which I'm probably gonna go through. I might go through that. Maybe I don't know. I can't do it tonight because I work tonight, but maybe I'll do it tomorrow morning. But I love going through like Arkham City, and like for example, when we were playing the finals, I loved making it fun. But I talk like Captain Price from
Mortal
Kombat. So from Modern Warfare, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, we need to fight. We need to get to the next rendezvous point. Soap.
The famous death moment.
Yeah, dude.
And so it's those little things that also just make it exciting though too.
Yeah, I like finding like games that I've played like a whole bunch, and then I like to try to make like a challenge out of it or something, or find something that you haven't done before in that game. Try to how can you play? Can you beat Batman Arkham Knight without ever using a Batarang? I mean, without actually, there are some story moments where you have to, because of the whole guided thing and solving puzzles, but can you beat the entire game without using like a certain mechanic or something? Or can you beat it without ever doing this, that, and the other thing or something? Right. And so like playing those games, or doing like those things, sometimes like before I was even streaming, like that was just some shit that I would do completely by myself. Just trying to see what I could get away with. Or like one of my favorite things is I used to do before streaming, I would see how fast I could break a game. And I don't mean like physically, because that's pretty fast. I'm pretty strong. But I mean like how fast can I go into a game and break the economy? Like how fast can I go in knowing the material, knowing what things sell really well? Like how fast can I go into a game, become like an absolute billionaire, buy everything? And I did it with Fallout 4. Okay. And I got to a point where I just had a stockpile of nukes. And so then I would just go around and, they'd be like, oh, you got to take out this area. And I'm like, watch me. And then you send off so many nukes that the frame rate in the game starts to stutter and it can't keep up with what you're playing and stuff. And you're just like, yeah, I did it. I broke the game.
No, I definitely love that. That's why I like for Borderlands 3, right now, which I have a PlayStation version and then I have the Xbox version, which I might put the Xbox version of this because I've always said before, one of the biggest problems with my PlayStation version is that because I can't keep my controller connected to my headphones while also using OBS. So the whole time I don't hear anything. And it is mind-numbing. However, with the Xbox, I might just switch over there because I can do that. I can at least listen to it.
So how do you stream on your Xbox?
Okay, so I stream through my Xbox streams through the OBS. So with that, I can actually hear everything.
You have the capture card.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then for some reason the PlayStation 1 it won't let it. So I have to be like in a right state of mind because it's literally just listening to nothing while I'm playing. Yeah, it's like one of those where like in my head it's just hearing the gears turn and that's about the sound of it.
I couldn't do that.
But
it's horrific.
Like in my sense, when I stream, like see how I have no headphones. I literally stream to the PC through the capture card, through the television, and I play my PlayStation separately. I can't even listen to the headphones or also cut it out from OBS as well. But I'm playing off a TV, which is barely audible to zero. So I'm playing it just with my visions, and I'm going based off of just senses.
Yeah, no, I tried doing that.
I'm gonna have to get my tech guy because I don't want to get like all the information wrong. But yeah, I got mine set up. I'm running the PS5. That's how I do all my streaming. So I go from the PS5 to the capture card, and that's hooked up through my Scarlett 2i2, and then I stream off of this mic. I don't even wear the headphones. All my sound and stuff is captured right into OBS and sent out through Twitch, and then I just use my TV. And if I want to, I can just put my headphones on from my PlayStation, and so I can listen to here, but still also interact and hear everything with Twitch. So I don't know what my setup is entirely that allows me to do this, but yeah, if you want more information, my tech guy is really good.
Yeah, that'd be great, because like it's weird because my Xbox can do it just fine, but the PlayStation won't, and that's the thing that's so odd about it.
Yeah, there was a thing I did look up. It's weird with the connectivity because they said that, like, we're gonna get a little techie for a sec, but when going through the capture card with Sony and everything, they said that there's no link. Like, you got to use a Sony ear link or something like that to connect to another controller in order for you to hear the sounds through the game and through the OBS and the capture card. Or else, if you just do it through PlayStation, then the PlayStation will not share audio with the capture card and everything. That's why. So if you're using like a secondary source,
that's stupid.
So right?
Yeah, that sounds complicated.
Yeah, so
like no reason.
That's what they ended up doing. That's why they said that if you ever want to listen to the audio through like the PlayStation, through the capture card, into your headset as you're playing the game and OBS at the same time, you'd have to put like a secondary controller and have a secondary like output source going through all of that. So that's what probably you have, that you're able to hear in-game stuff without it being disconnected from the PlayStation. Like, I'm sure.
I mean, I wish I could say that, but I don't have a second controller that I use. I just have
or a second audio source, like probably your mic. Maybe.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Because
I have everything going through the 2i2, and then that takes everything and puts it into OBS, and so they are completely two separate audio files. So the computer is recording and picking up the audio file through the capture card like setup in the 2i2, and then my television is just using the actual audio from the system. So
exactly. So that's why we're able to hear the audio through the TV versus like headphones. But I guarantee you, once you put your headphones on and connect it to the PlayStation, your audio will be automatically disconnected from your stream. It'll just go straight to your PlayStation.
I might have to try that.
We'll see what happens. The more you know.
Yeah.
This is what we like to call a techless conversation.
Yeah.
Techless conversation.
No, that's wild. Yeah, it just sucks for me in the meantime because it's just kind of whatever. But I mean, overall. Oh, hold on. Before I jump into this, someone nuked Minecraft by making a huge TNT box and the game crashed.
Yeah. But there was a comment like further up. It was a question by Wolf further up.
Was it this one?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not about gaming more. It's also about streaming. So it kind of disappoints me sometimes because I never got to see any growth I expected. Like, well, you expect something, right?
Yeah, we read this one.
Oh yeah, I read this one already.
Did we? Because I felt like that was afterwards.
It kind of just all got summed into one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they all got summed into one.
I mean, because and seeing growth, whereas like the humble part of your brain says, "Hey, we don't want to see it," or we don't need it. It's kind of we're here for the community and stuff. There is a part of your brain that when you start streaming, you expect a little bit of growth, and with that, like it's not something that happens overnight. Very rarely does it ever happen overnight. I mean, like the example I said in the very beginning of this, like my buddy, we've been buddies for like 10 years. I just found out he's been streaming for 5 of them. It's putting yourself out there, and quote unquote marketing yourself, but also like, do the best that you can. And, when you make the content that you want to make, people will find you. It's a super, super slow growth, but it will happen.
And there's someone out there for everyone.
Yeah, the majority of people who stream quit. The difference is, are you going to quit because you don't see the growth that you want, or are you quitting because you don't want to do this anymore? Because if you're creating the content that you want to create, the viewers will show up. They will find you at some point. It's just how will they find you and how long it takes for them to find you. It will happen.
No, exactly. And that's the thing is, like, for just all of us, we've all kind of had that same thing. We've had moments where, I mean, I'm sure we've all had moments where we're like, okay, things sit to going up and then they go back down. It goes like this a lot.
Oh yeah.
All the time.
I'm not even huge. I'm confident in myself. And
No,
I
that's
like
fair.
what I produce. I like, the content that I make. I would also say, hey, you want to see some growth? Put yourself out there on other content, creating, platforms. You make what I like to do. I'll do a stream, and then if somebody watching clips something and they enjoy what I do, I'll take that clip, I'll throw it on TikTok, or I'll take clips from my podcast, I'll throw it on TikTok. Nobody can never say that it doesn't work, because literally throwing my clips on TikTok is the only reason that Afrofish and I are even, having conversations. It was solely because I threw shit on TikTok, and it sparked this, So like, it's put your stuff out there. There's people who want to, they want to go big, but they don't put themselves out there enough, and it sucks and it's hard. It definitely is. And you get to a point where you're like, oh shit, this is all just like a second job, but I'm not getting paid for it. But you gotta dig down deep. You gotta find that passion, and you gotta know that eventually things will grow for you.
Well,
And link up with other streamers, link up with friends, link up with people that who are also doing this stuff, cross-platform stuff,
No, exactly. I know, like myself, for example, like I put a video out, and I've talked about this before. I've put a video out about NCAA
on
and
OnlyFans.
Huh?
On OnlyFans, and
I don't put my stuff on OnlyFans. I don't have one. Okay?
Hold the fuck up. What did I miss?
Like,
he put some NCAA on.
Okay?
He put some NCAA on OnlyFans, and he didn't get the outcome of the footballers he wanted.
Shut the fuck up. Oh god. You fucking goober. Like,
you got the wrong balls. You got the wrong balls of that video.
Oh, I'm just gonna start throwing up all my all my content on the hub. So whenever someone's like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, I like what he has to say." Like,
yeah. I was like, "Damn, Afrofish, this is a whole part of you that I didn't even know existed."
Well, I like my own private parties.
Those subscription only get-togethers.
Yeah, you want to hear my voice? But no, like, so I put like a video up, and it was about NCAA, and yeah, I got a lot of there was a bit of backlash, and some of it was positive, negative. Probably one of my most mixed like videos I've ever posted up. But I actually keep that up on purpose, because at first, when I first started seeing some of the people like, "Oh, you don't know jack shit of what you're talking about," blah blah blah, even though I just said this is just my opinion on it. Like, yeah, never underestimate people. But like, I keep that up on purpose, because it also lets me see, like, hey, these are some of the comments I'm going to get. If I can't handle them on one video, that's not a good sign. That's a sign that I need to gain some more resilience, and learn that people are going to say things that might be disagreeable with it, or might just say I'm just stupid. That was something that was a big thing for me to learn.
To be honest, yeah, I don't even bother with it. Like, it's reading, like, getting sucked into comments and stuff is so like self-harming, because it's right there. Like nobody knows like who you really are. Nobody knows like what you're really like in life and stuff. It's like, you're just putting your stuff out there, and you throw on like, a couple bad comments here and there. It's like, well, like what are we actually achieving at this point? Like you're just saying some shit my way. I'm the best thing I can do is what, give you the reaction that you want, and that's it's one of those things where I'm just going to let you know that, like, hey man, I don't care enough to even interact with whatever nonsensical shit you're throwing out there. The only stuff that I'll even interact with on comments are like, people like whether they're positive or negative. If it's a question about the show or about the content that we're creating, or whatever, yeah, I'll interact with it. If it's like, hey, love what you do, hey, thank you, I appreciate you, kind of thing. But if it's some like long convoluted shit about like, give up or don't do this or don't whatever, it's well, I mean, what are you, mom? Like, get out of here. I'm not gonna do what you say.
Your mom's just on there being like,
yeah,
they gonna learn
I'm
today.
Like, yeah, like, mom, get off the internet, like
hammer.
But I'm like, yeah, dude, like what's like, at the end of the day, what's this really actually doing to me? Nothing. Like
no, exactly.
It's not actually gonna, I'm not gonna be like, oh man, Skippy Cheese 6969 says that I should give up right now, and I'll be like, well,
he told me that too,
man. guess I should just take all of my hard work and investments and just throw it down the drain. Like, no, man. First off, Skippy, get a different name, man. It's terrible. Like, move on.
Go create your other profile that you created 2 minutes ago and go do it again.
Well, yeah. The one thing that I know, like with that video too, is because of the fact that I did get stuff wrong in there. Like the one thing normally, if it's someone's just like, oh, you should just go unalive yourself, then I'm like, well, actually, like, I'm not going to do that. But yeah. But if they're like, hey, you got this wrong on there, then there was a couple of, I even got the date wrong because I thought it was in August, but it was actually in July, And so when I sat there, I was like, nah, you right on that one.
Yeah, I love when people call me out on that shit.
Like, and I was like, nah, you right. Like that's something I probably should have looked up. That was a mistake on my part, and I just kept it as is. That's why I like keeping the video up, because sometimes I am gonna get mixed videos. And then people are not only going to agree, and there's going to be things where I agree with, or I enjoy, I disagree with. If people just send hate my way, it is what it is. I really don't care. Wouldn't be the first time, probably won't be the last. And a lot of people don't really send hate their way. I mean, even when I look at the stuff, yeah, you might get like one person that calls me a fucking jelly bean, but like, I mean, like like,
I think what really comes down to it is how you react with it. Like, it's how you let it affect your stream, how you let it affect your content, how you let it affect, the manner in which you proceed from this point forward. Because it's going to show the type of individual that you are. If you can take a nasty comment and bounce back like it, did absolutely nothing to you, then you're stronger for it, and your community is going to see how strong you are about it. And then luckily, sometimes, like it's happened before here, where you get somebody comes into the chat and says something absolutely off the wall, batshit crazy, and then you've got, like, I was in a stream, like I was jumping into one of my friend's streams, like a couple days ago, and someone said some off the wall shit, and it was like, hey man, you're about to see like 140 people like be completely against you, and verbally like say it like now, and then within like seconds there was just lines of, no, you're wrong, don't listen to him, don't do this, whatever, here, all these lines of support, and then you just see the, so and so's been banned, and you're like, well, damn, like that happens so fast, because you're gonna, you being genuinely who you are and being like a kind, generous individual that you want to present yourself as, you're gonna have people who are gonna have your back. And then every so often, there's just a one person slips through, and it's like half the time, yeah, community's gonna get, take care of it. Or you got moderators who like I've gotten notifications while streaming that like somebody's been flagged for some shit, and then I just look over and be like, I don't know what happened. I don't know why everybody's upset. I just want to let you know that like I trust the mods, and if the mods say it's okay and they let the message through, then awesome. If they take care of it and it disappears and I never see it, I trust them completely. Like sometimes it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very, very true. Very, very true. And that's the thing. Like, I think, there's always people who are going to respond with the comments. You know, I like reading some of them. I'll read like the first few of them. I only get like the most I get comments is like 8, so I just kind of read through them, and be like, oh, okay, and then I just kind of you try to move. But sometimes if they got a good point, they got a good point. And
Yeah, but I mean your reactions, like I've seen your chats and stuff in like the TikTok videos and stuff, and they're like your reactions to stuff are not bad. Like the way that you'll go, like even if something's wrong, you'll be like, yeah, man, I like your opinion, or I like what you're saying here. This is what this is the truth, and you've said it, and this is what we're going with.
mhm.
And like not like you the point that I'm making is that you don't go in there and you don't blow up, you don't freak out about stuff. If
No.
someone says, hey, I mean, and I will say, like, I don't think I've ever seen any like real negative comments in any of your videos. So like maybe I just haven't seen them,
No.
if you think that they're there, but I have not seen any of like the real negative stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like I purposely, like, for myself, when I make any of my stuff, even like I want to do the harsh reality one. I just had to get my ass up to go do it. But like those are the ones where I'm always like, you get people who are like, well, I might disagree with it, and or something like that, and I don't mind it too much. Like I think it's fun. Like I said, there's always someone you can learn from someone who disagrees with you.
Yeah, of course.
I think if I was one of those people who only were like, oh well, I just strip out anything that's even remotely negative, because I've seen some people do that. They just strip out anything remotely negative, then you're not learning anything. You ain't moving anything yourself any farther.
Right.
Well,
right.
I've been a mod, and I could say like I'm a mod in like over like 10 different channels, and the shit that I've had to deal with while the streamers is going, it's like I like I said, I'm there for the streamer. I'm always there for the streamer, and like I've always noticed, like it's true. Like you said, you have to, if you're genuine, you're always there. You got the streamer's back, and some of the stuff that I've had to deal with, I always make sure it's fine with the streamer first. But if
Of
they're
course.
gone, then I tell them afterwards. But like at one point I have 3 monitors and a TV, and I've had it filled with the streams I'm monitoring. And in one sitting, I had to delete over like almost 1,000 messages, like between all the streams combined. And it's like it's frustrating as a mod, but even as a streamer, like, or a content creator on the side, you see both sides of it, and it's true. Like even when the streamer is like, oh, what did they say, what was this, most of them are all bots. The ones that flip through are like the negative ones, but you try not to let your community even see that. Like
That's
like
what
I had the streamer with like a huge group going, and I caught it just before the chat even saw it, and they were like, what was that, and you just see lines of like question marks, and it's like, for them not to know, that means mods are doing their jobs. Just push on, carry on. But yeah, just always have faith in your mods. Like right now, even as we are streaming, one of my mods is in here. I'm hoping they're taking notes. But yeah, no, but they are good though. I do hold my mods even in my DC to the highest respect. And as a person who like is genuine and everything, that's what you should do. Like your mods make you, and you make your mods. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
For your community.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't like I said, I'm not huge. Like I got I think I have 2 mods, and I have 1 AI mod that I just use through like like the Streambot thing,
Mhm.
and it's, I mean, from the 3 of them, two actual mods and 1 AI program, like I don't ever see anything, so I'm assuming everything's going pretty well. I mean,
Yeah,
I also like to assume that no one's throwing hate my way. So that's just, that's how I live my life.
Well, and
for
that's the thing
me,
is, like,
oh,
we're
sorry.
also, I think all 3 of us too are not the type of people who try to farm for that hate. One of the things that's always kind of been a thing that even I see it on TikTok is that I know I've seen people do this where they kind of almost like they purposely say something that's just trying to farm that hate content their
Mhm.
way.
Oh, it
And
causes reactions. Yeah.
yes, and I'm just like, for me personally, I am not a person to do that. That's a waste of my fucking time.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll sometimes I'll stir stuff up in my chat just for the
Kinda
fun of
have
it,
some
but
fun.
it's never
Yeah.
but it's never like negative stuff. Like it'll be like somebody will go on about, coffee or something, and I'll be like, well, iced coffee is always like the way to go, and you got to make sure you have this amount of ice with this amount of coffee and stuff. And then people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like it's coffee kind of thing. And then we had this whole thing like last stream where somebody went in there and was like, oh well, so and so spilled my coffee, and I was like, that I'm pretty sure is a hate crime. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, you don't just spill someone's coffee. And they were like, yeah, see, and it sparks this whole thing. So for like the next 45 minutes we're all arguing about coffee, and I go I just made us all talk about coffee for 45
I know, like,
minutes.
I did make a video that they were like, what is like some unpopular opinions that you have, blah blah blah. And I just went after the original Yu-Gi-Oh community. Like,
Yeah.
I was like one of those things. I mean, as someone who has watched the show when I was a kid, seen the show when I was an adult, and
Yep.
have also been a part of that community, I'm like, yeah, I think I can sit here and tell you that I think most of the villains in this show fucking suck.
Yep.
Like, they're terrible. And so
Yeah.
I was, that was one where I was like, I'm not gonna lie, you say an unpopular opinion, and the only reason I say this is because I started off too saying I can respect the series, but I also agree that I don't think the series is very good.
Listen, I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh being on, I think it was like Cartoon Network with like Toonami, and then I got the game for the PlayStation, and then I would play the game because like I had the cards, but like I grew up as the nerdy kid in like a school full of jocks. So like there were not a whole lot of the nerdy kids who were all just getting together, just rearing up and ready to play card games. Like it was not a whole lot of nerd, running around. So I learned to play the Yu-Gi-Oh like card game through the video game. And then even that, I was like, well, I understand enough to play the game, but I don't understand enough to play the card game kind of thing. And then like as I like grew up and stuff, I'd find out that like a lot of the people that I went to school with did the same stupid shit that I did, thinking that there was not a whole lot of us around. And I'm like, if maybe just someday one of us were just like, hey, I like these things, maybe a bunch of other people would have also like stepped out of the shadows and been like, hey, I also like these things,
No, exactly. Like, and I think, as someone who looks back, because I think that time was like my personal favorite, that 2000 to like 2006. you know I don't care how old I was, I'll still watch some of those old cartoons. They're fucking
Man,
great.
back when like Naruto would like had the marathons and stuff.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I was watching Sonic X.
so good. Oh
I was
yeah,
cracked up
dude.
while I was watching Sonic X. I was going through it. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
like these are great, 100%. And so I think that like I love watching it, but I also like going back and kind of watching them now with fresher eyes.
Oh yeah, dude.
And once
I'm
those
I'm
rose tinted glasses come off, oh boy.
dude, I'm
Oh,
going I'm going back to like old like shows that like I went back to like we restarted all of Naruto. Because now like I got kids, so now I'm like I'm introducing them into like the things that I was like growing up with and loving and stuff. And so now we've gone back, we watched like the old like cartoons with like old Transformers and stuff. We've gone back and watched like Naruto. We watched Sonic, we watched the original like D&D show, the Dungeons and Dragons show that like really did not do super well, but it's just really fun to just like go back and watch these old shows like as adults and just realize that this actually wasn't that bad, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. That's funny. Is I went back to rewatch the Justice League.
Oh
I
yeah.
went back to watch the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited show, and a couple things that I saw through there that was actually really funny was how much humor is like centered for kids yet at adults as well, and like the little references that they would shoot their way. And I was like, yeah, I forgot. This is why I also love this show. There's so many that were just so good.
Yeah,
And
dude.
I can go back to rewatch like I don't know how many of them. It's just have a blast still, and be like, yeah, this shit's fucking funny. But fortunately, I can't say the same about the Sonic Adventure games. But like at least the show was still interesting. Before I wanted to say too, one of the questions I wanted to ask, have you ever played ever had a game that just did not meet your expectations?
Whoa. Damn. Yeah, a couple times. There was one recently that I just Hunt Shadow whatever. Damn. Yeah, I never remember.
Hunt Showdown.
There we go. Bang. See, I just need you in the background to just like help me with all the damn names. Yeah, that one I was expecting to be really good. And that one just really did not hit for me. I wanted it to be really good, and I think that's why I pushed it for so long, and I bought the game, and it just did not it just didn't hold up for me, and I wanted it to be so much better than it was, and it just wasn't. There was Oh man, I gotta really think about that one. That's because it's such a weird, it's a hard thing to answer because you definitely know there has been, but you just gotta remember specifically
you go
what
through
they
you play
were.
the game and you're like, wow, this is
Yeah,
like,
dude. I've gone. I love Dragon Ball Z. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, but
same.
the Dragon Ball Z whatever it was almost like the latest one where it was basically like a Mortal Kombat style, very in your face
You
kind of
didn't
thing.
like fighters?
Dude, I did not like fighters.
What?
It was driving me crazy.
Oh,
I wanted to listen, I wanted to like it so bad. I wanted to like it so bad because I love Dragon Ball Z. I wanted so badly to like it. And it was so it just got to these points, man, where I was going in there and it was just pop, 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 pop. And I'm like, yeah, man, we get it. But I loved all the other ones where it was more 3-dimensional and we were zipping all over the place. I loved those ones. So then just to give me this Dragon Ball Z style Mortal Kombat thing. And I'm like, come on. Come on. I wanted to love it so bad. And it just and here's the funny thing. It's still on my system. I refuse to get rid of it because I want to love it so bad. And I can't, dude.
okay.
What was the Jump Force? I wanted that one to be so good.
I got some words about Jump Force.
I know you and I have talked a lot.
But the one I would definitely actually Scorp, you go next.
Oh,
got
it's hard for me.
All right. Well, I would say one that really did not meet my expectations would probably be the Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, I loved The Force Unleashed. I thought it was awesome. It did not age well. That game deserves a remaster. Give it a remaster. God dang it. But The Force Unleashed 2 is just a downgrade. And it bothers me because I love The Force Unleashed 1 so much.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel the same. It feels very cheap, very quick, tacked on kind of shit. And I'm just this feels like DLC. And I hate that when a game feels like DLC.
100%, dude.
Like I should. Oh my god. Yeah. So
I'm
I would
like,
say.
sorry, I just spoke for no reason.
Oh, you're good. Like, I'm doing that. I'm like, what are you gonna say? I was gonna say something.
Yeah.
Like, but no, it just bothers me so
Yeah,
much.
I'm like ripping through all the games that like I've ever played, just like on my like categories and stuff on my phone. And like weirdly enough, like I've enjoyed a lot of Conan Exiles. I couldn't get into that one. I wanted to. I tried. Like a lot of these games, like I give a good solid effort. Hyperscape was a dumpster dive.
Hyperscape.
Yeah. Hyperscape was gonna be like the next it was basically gonna be what's the game called? Apex? No. No, Apex. Wait, Apex Legends? What's the battle royale thing that's going nuts right now? That's full of cheaters and stuff. It's like there's like
Apex
three.
Legends?
Is it Apex Legends? Okay,
Well, depends on what you want to say because there's like a few of them. There's like Naraka, Blade Point. There's Apex Legends.
Dude,
There's
Naraka is fun though.
okay. I was gonna say I said Apex out loud and it didn't feel like it was the right name, but yeah, it's like I played Apex for like a while, and
Yeah.
it was supposed to like Hyperscape was basically supposed to be like the game before Apex came out, and it just that one it had a really cool concept, but I don't think they developed it correctly, or like enough that I don't think it did. It didn't do the consumers justice. It really kind of fell flat. It should have probably maybe gotten a lot more hype, I guess, but it also probably should have been in development a little longer before they like released it. But I mean, hey, I gave that one a solid go. I mean, it made I think it went like 3 seasons before it finally just absolutely took a dump.
Damn. See,
Uh,
I would put another one on the list that did not meet my expectations was probably Star Wars Squadrons.
yeah, I never played it. I heard a lot of really good things about it though.
Like it was all right, but it just didn't sit with me the same way I thought it was going to.
Now, let me ask you the opposite angle. Are there any games that you thought were like, or that like that you thought were good that just didn't get the hype that you think it deserved? Or like maybe didn't get the credit or maybe didn't see enough eyes than you think that it deserved? Because I'll tell you what, there is one game that I did play that I thought was gonna go big and it did not at all. And that was Spellbreak. Any of you guys play Spellbreak?
no.
Spellbreak was basically a battle royale before everyone started doing battle royales. All right. Except in this, it was like it's not like guns and ammo and all this, not, whatever. You would drop in and then you would collect basically like superpowers. And then you would go head to head as like a super high level, like basically like I don't want to say like wizards or like sorcerer or warlock kind of like shit, because like you basically like you picked up superpowers and then you would use those. So like some of them would like, you do like the airbender like stuff. You could like smash the ground, create like massive like rock shield things, or like send out boulders and stuff. You could like call upon like meteorites and throw fireballs. There was like another one you could like it'd be like water. A lot of it was like elemental based and stuff, but it was weirdly really good. And it just did not pick up like I thought it was going to pick up. Like I understand it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it was damn good.
I'm actually scrolling through my scrolling through to find the games that I would say. Actually, one of them I will say that it didn't receive the hype and that I think it deserved. Mirror's Edge.
Bro, listen, I'm on it, but also I couldn't play that shit. I tried so hard. I just kept getting dizzy.
Like, and that's definitely I've heard that's something. Mirror's Edge is one that I think it's fantastic. I can handle it, so I don't really worry too much about it.
Do you see they expanded?
What do you mean?
So there was Mirror's Edge 2, and then it disappeared for like the longest time.
Yep.
And then they just came out with, I don't know if it's released yet or if it's coming out, but it's basically like Mirror's Edge, but like in the future. I know it's already a futuristic game, but I mean like time has passed.
Yeah.
You play a different character and it's like the same Mirror's Edge stuff,
I'll
same
have to go
like
look that up because I haven't heard
mechanics,
anything
yeah,
about that.
same like first person like parkour stuff. Like, yeah, it actually looks kind of good, and I think I might get into it.
That sounds like fun. Actually, I'm gonna have to give that one a shot. I think another one that really, I was gonna say one that didn't really live up. There was really no, I guess, like probably not a whole hype to it. Oh, okay. So sorry. The one that deserves more credit, Escape Academy.
Escape Academy.
It is, yes. You play.
Oh, is that the it's like a 8-bit or a 16-bit game or something like that?
No, so it is like you are a first person. It's like a first person. You're in like escape rooms. You're like a spy, pretty much.
Oh,
And they have to go to this academy to help it to become like how to become a better spy, and it's super fun. It's on the Xbox. Fantastic game. I think it's on PlayStation as well. Proteus is another one too. So Proteus is like old
sweet.
school Doom.
I'll have to look this one up.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up. I just saved it, so I'll have to play that one.
Another game that I would say is a disappointment one, High on Life.
High on Life. That sounds so familiar.
It's the kind of like a Rick and Morty kind of gish game.
Oh, you didn't like that one?
Nah. I did not have much fun with it.
Dude, I loved that one up until the whole, Justin Roiland shit. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well,
Yeah.
and also I would say if you have a chance, play Immortals: Phoenix Rising.
I love it. I've played it.
That one.
Weirdly
And that
enough,
one is.
I haven't beaten it, but I've played it twice.
Like the thing is, it's funny is like I found the game fun for a while.
Yeah.
The story is funny as hell.
Oh yeah. That was what kept me going. I love.
Oh my god,
story.
listening to what is it?
Zeus and
is it Hephaestus?
Maybe, or is it Archimedes?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Listening those two back and forth are so funny.
Dude, it's so good.
That it just I was like, I would have watched this as like a cartoon.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they could have easily been like a TV show or something, or like an anime or something. Like,
have you ever played Lake?
No.
Okay, so it's like literally like it's like if you took like the Lifetime or Hallmark Channel and just made it into a game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you play as this lady who comes back to her hometown and she like, you talk with other people and stuff and you deliver mail. It's really simple, but I was like super into it.
I was introduced to a super weird game. A couple like podcast episodes ago.
Yeah.
But one of our reoccurring guests all the time, his name is Tom. Tom has like a weird knowledge of just super weird games.
Mr.
And
Mosquito.
I love it. It's called Catherine.
Oh, Catherine. I love that game.
Oh my god. What, bro, what was I? I had to look this thing up and I was like, what?
It's made by the same people who made Persona.
Oh, really? Dude,
yeah.
That was I didn't do any gameplay at first. Like I just typed in Catherine and I hit trailer and I just watched this super weird metaphor of a guy trying to avoid being a father, I'm assuming, but it was like all puzzle game. He's basically just like in like a diaper or something, carrying something, and there's this big ass baby climbing up this like puzzle wall, and I'm like, who's playing this?
Me. Like, and I played the first one. I'm still working on the full body version, which is like the kind of like the it's like a bonus version.
I didn't even know that was the thing, dude.
Yeah. So Persona, first, like the Atlas just has a tendency to do that for some reason. They'll be like, oh, Persona 5 Royal, Persona 3 Reload. So
okay.
Another one that I played for a little bit was Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah.
It was on Xbox, so I played that one for a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
It's actually not that bad. Carrion is cool. I'm not gonna lie. If you ever get a chance to play Carrion, you basically play like a monster that like breaks out of its cell and you're just like going in and like attacking everyone in this facility. Yeah, there's no reason for it to be as awesome as destroy all humans.
Oh, come on. Wait, are you putting that in the good category or the bad
So
category?
it's okay. So it's one of those games where I'm actually gonna put it in the not as good as I thought it was, but that's because I played it originally, and then when I went back to play like the remastered version of it, I was like, this is all right. Like it's
Yeah.
funny. Don't get me wrong. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. I think Destroy All Humans was really good, but Destroy All Humans was my introduction into Saints Row.
That's fair.
Saints Row 2, 3, and 4. And I was like, oh, this makes sense, because Saints Row 2, 3, and 4 is basically just like if you took everything comedy and made it into a GTA game. Like,
Yeah, no, it's and like with the whole 1950s aesthetic too. What I love with
yeah,
Destroy All
it's
Humans.
so good.
But like I would say another one on their list of things that actually like impress me. I just love it. It's Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Those were really good ones. You guys ever play Splitgate?
Yes.
I
Wait,
thought it was
that's
going to
the
kick off.
racing one, right?
No, so it's actually a first-person shooter.
Oh,
But
damn.
the
What am I
big
thinking
thing
of?
in there is that you can make portals.
Ooh,
So you can make portals. You can also use your opponent's portals,
nice.
and it was really fun. It was like take Halo and Portal and mix it together.
Dang. See, that would be fun.
It
See,
was,
I liked Portal though. Portals was that was a good one.
yeah, Portal's fantastic.
Portal and Portals 2. That was like I think I spent like a whole weekend, like honestly, like before kids, before I was married, before like I had like responsibilities and stuff. Like I came home one day, after work, I'm like, I got the whole weekend to myself. I'm not going outside. I'm not going to look at the sun. I'm going to eat whatever's in my house, and I am playing Portals 1 and Portals 2, and this is my weekend. And I don't think I've ever had more fun.
That's fair. No, I loved. There's quite a few. Actually, one of them I will say, and I don't know if you guys have ever played this. It's The Wolf Among Us.
Oh, yes.
I was expecting it to be pretty good, but I was not expecting it to be as good as it was.
Okay.
If you ever get a chance,
I have not completed it, but I have played it.
The ending is good, and there is a second one on the way.
Nice.
So, oh shit.
Yeah, that'll be good.
100% would recommend a lot of those kind of games coming through. It's hard because it's like when you find a game that's like, it's hard for me to find a game that'll just like, yeah, I just can't do this, man.
Yeah. See, I have a struggle where I tend to be more graceful to games if it's free or I get it with like a game pass, because I'm more willing to give it time. Whereas if I buy a game and the hype is super high and then I play the game and it's just shit, I just get so upset and irritated because I'm like, I spent money on this for this to be just an absolute dumpster fire. Like I've stopped pre-ordering games for this specific like reasons. And it's like I'm so tired of just getting like gypped in these games because they're expected to be so good and then they're just not. And I'm actually
Right.
finding that like some of the games that are cheaper or coming out at like like Helldivers 2 came out at $40, or I think it was even $30. You could pay $40 or something. And that game was fantastic. It's also half the cost of what a normal game costs,
Well, it
with
also shows they
double
don't
the
need it.
quality.
They don't need to make these games to be these high, like these like incredibly high
Yeah.
budget ones.
Well,
And
okay. You're a Star Wars fan, right?
Yes.
All right. So the new Star Wars game coming out, they're like what they're doing this whole was it Rogue something or other, but they're the initial price for the game you can buy at $60, which comes with not everything in the game, and not like the cosmetic shit doesn't actually bother me. But you can go from the $60 game, or you can buy the like $80 game, which just comes with a bunch of cosmetic shit, or you can get the $120 version of the game, which comes with all of the missions in the game and the cosmetic stuff. And I'm like, if you're selling me the game, why, like, immediately, I haven't even played your game yet, and I've already got a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No,
like,
exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, give me the game that I want to play. Don't like, before the game's even out, don't start gouging me for money.
Well, and that's the part that's got me kind of just out, like, upset too, is the fact that we do have so many, like, all these games that come out, and it's like, now you said you don't pre-order anymore. A lot of people don't, because the games come out buggy as shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what's the point? If I can't even, if I can't, you're going to give me a game, I can't even fully enjoy it for another 3 months after you get time to actually pump it out. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, people are willing to wait. Any of the people who are like, oh, I'm not willing to wait for whatever game, go touch some grass, man, because honestly, it ain't that big of a deal.
Yeah, the wait is like when Assassin's Creed Valhalla was announced, I was super hyped about that. And then I find out that from the moment that I heard the game was releasing and the game was actually coming out was 9 months. And I was like, oh, fantastic. I have 9 whole months to sit here and ponder about this game until it comes out. And you know what? It held up in my eyes. I love Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, it's got its issues, but, like, I think as a whole, it's a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
What drives me crazy, what drives me absolutely to pure madness, is when you tell me that there's a game coming out back in 2012, and then 2024 hits, and you finally release this game, and you call it Skull and Bones, and it is not even remotely close to what you advertised this game to be. And then you have the audacity to look at everyone out there and say, this is the world's first quadruple game. I'm sorry. Fuck yourself.
No, absolutely. Alrighty, y'all. I appreciate everyone who's watched today.
It's a fun way to end.
Yeah, no, y'all good. That's a good way to end it on, though. I'm not gonna lie, like, that's the best way to end it on. But man, Josh, I appreciate you being here, my dude. Really
dude, this was such a treat, dude. I love doing this. Hopefully, I haven't tarnished my name. Hopefully I can come back and do another one.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm actually I want to do, like, an end of the year one, right?
I would love it.
Like an end of the year one, to bring in, like, a bunch of people to just talk about the year in review.
Dude, that would be sick. That's a cool idea. I love that.
Yeah, I'm still debating. It'll probably sometime in December.
Gonna have about 20 screens going at that same time.
Well, they think I can only hold like 10, so we're fine. So, like, I'm not paying for the extra screens.
Yeah.
But, like,
So it looks like I'm getting the boot.
Yeah, maybe. But, like, alrighty, I appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to check out Who What Now Gaming. Where can they catch you on, by the way?
Who What Now Gaming is on everywhere you find podcasts. If you want to view the actual video of the episode, you can find us on YouTube at Who What Now Gaming. If you want to check out just the clips, you want to get a little sample of what I'm about, you can find us on TikTok at Who What Now Pod, the official TikTok of the show, and also my stream clips and stuff randomly appear up there sometimes. But I also stream every Saturday and Sunday from 7 p.m. till midnight on Twitch. And I also stream Mondays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Phoenix Stewart, PhoenixStwrt.
You're spelling it too fast. I can't give a follow that fast.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being on here. Scorpio,
hey, I appreciate you having me, dude.
Absolutely. Scorpio, I appreciate you being here as well. And as always, I'm Taylor from Afro LG, and I will catch you all in the next one.